Uh, I'm gonna send him a potato. Because you can do that. There's a service where you can send people potatoes. All right. I put the general outline of things that should probably be covered in the Gen chat. I will have that up as well. And feel free to add and mention things as we go. It's a safe choice. I never had one. Does somebody want to share the stream link? Yes. I don't have a piece of 8, I have a piece of late. That's how that works. Oh, they can hear us. Fuck. Sorry about that. Ah, wait, wait. How? Oh, there we go. Hey there, my dudes. Sorry about that. Um, my setups were a little messy, but welcome one and all to the second, I think it's the second inaugural Amateur Hour SMP lore recap. Thank you for the cheer, Ryan. Thanks, friend. um, welcome newcomers, welcome folks who are around here on a regular basis. I am Shibby. I have a collection of lovely members of the Amateur Hour SMP here with me tonight, who I guess will go around and introduce ourselves if you are not familiar with who we are, if you are new to the world of Amateur Hour and the SMP. Tonight we will be going over everything that has happened in the SMP up to this date, which is quite a bit. We are currently at the beginning of Act 3 of Season 2, so that means that we have a season and 2/3 to go over. Thank you for the hydrate, Silver Fox. So there's a lot to chat about, but we are going to start out with who's here, and then we'll get going. So I'm going to unmute the wackos and see what happens.
Love how little my turtle is.
Hello, friends. Should we
Hello.
go around and introduce ourselves to those who may not be familiar with us, starting with Ryan?
Oh, why me?
Because you're next to me in the layout.
You know what? That makes sense. Hi guys, my name is City Hick. I also go by Ryan. I'm part of the Amateur Hour SMP, and I have played many roles, good roles, bad roles, and currently I am a man without a place to live. I'm just a hobo squatting in Scythe land. All right, who's next?
Jack.
Hello, everyone. I am one of the writers for the SMP.
One second, Jack. I gotta
Jack.
turn you up a little.
Yeah, you sound dull and you sound very quiet.
There we go. Try now.
All right, is it working? Are we good?
That's about as high as I can turn you up, so it's gonna have to work.
All right. Well, I am Jack. I am one of the writers of the SMP. Lord Jack is my profile name on there. You can also call me my lord, my liege, and any type of title along the lines of like supreme god emperor. You know, anything of my status. But outside of that, I'm going to pass it on to the next person.
Scythe.
Oh, hi, I'm Scythe, commonly known as Jaren Scythe. I do a lot of things. Hi, yeah, I'm Scythe. And, okay, I essentially fill the role of director. I am also the, co-writer. I play a part. I write. I do a lot. It's a fun time. I'm happy to be here. Thanks.
Awesome. Noctum.
Hi y'all. I'm Noctum, commonly known as Nicole. Shut up, Scythe. Commonly known as Nicole on stream. A lot of people call me that, but it's Noctum. I am I guess want to say like side character, and part of the background stage crew. I just kind of enjoy helping build things and fixing things and getting things ready for stream. Hi.
And Ty.
I'm Tyler, Emperor of the Turtles and all its people. And I've only ever done good things on the server. No matter what anyone says, all good.
Hail to the
Sure.
emperor.
You are voted least likely to commit a war crime.
I didn't know we had superlatives.
We do. And we do now.
Fun fact: my father was voted most likely to commit a white-collar crime when he was a superlative in high school. It was a great time.
We
Why did
will
that-
evaluate that at a later point in time. All right, so thank you for the resub, Panda. Happy 6 months. And I don't know if that's a good choice, but I wanted to start out tonight to having a short little discussion of what is an SMP, because I didn't really know what an SMP was for a long time until you guys started your SMP and I got involved. And it can be a little confusing if you are not familiar with that world. So, would anybody like to tell me like what they think an SMP is, just for a quick overview?
Who wants to go? No one.
It's
Okay.
Minecraft. We play Minecraft.
It is
Basically.
Minecraft.
Yeah, I mean, technically SMPs can exist on any game, but it's pretty much just a survival multiplayer server where a bunch of people come together and just play whatever game they're playing, and they just kind of like, we decided to add a little bit more story to ours and have actual drama and whatnot, because when you're playing Minecraft, everybody tends to mess around with each other, accidentally blow up each other's dogs, burn down someone's crops, random stuff like that. So we added actual story flair elements to it to give it a little more pizzazz, if you will.
Yes, the crazy accidental things, like legitimate, just on God, straight front, dead ass murder,
Arson.
just the craziest accidents.
Yeah,
Drowning a few 80 dogs. What's the harm?
Yeah, just a few.
we needed to free up the server space, guys.
Yeah, it was lagging.
All right. Well, glad that we've got that established. I know it can be kind of confusing to those who may not be involved in the world of SMPs. There are, other SMPs out there who are known for various things, but the Amateur Hour one, we can all agree, is the best by far, right?
Yes, because we're here.
Right?
Because
Okay.
we don't make dick jokes.
Of course not.
We
Never
don't?
to ever do such thing.
Wait, can we prove that?
I think that's actually false. I'm almost certain at least one has been made.
All right. So, starting from the very beginning, a very good place to start. Season 1. I was not there for season 1, so I am going to mostly be moderating this section, prompting discussions and such. But where did we start?
So, question to not only you, Shimi, but everybody here: do we want to start with the story, or do we want to start with the establishments that are a part of it? Because the biggest question for me, at least, in terms of where do we begin, is there's a lot of small but many moving parts going on throughout the world, and if we were to go through from the beginning and then stop every time and bring up said new moving piece the first time it gets brought up, then we'll be here for a while.
This is true.
I think starting from the story portion of like who is who is a part of the SMP and like the different things that are involved, and then going into branching into the actual storyline would probably be the best concept so people can follow along.
I agree.
So, Mr. City Hick over there, who is above me, you first, Mr. King.
Oh, okay.
Just pointed at me.
Yeah, okay. I mean, I'm one of the main characters, kind of a major pushing point of the story and whatnot. Mainly because I was one of a few streamers that were actually a part of this. Because not everybody involved is here making streaming content and whatnot. Some people are just here to have fun and be a part of it. So I kind of became one of the main characters just through like default of needing someone to tell the story. So basically, I was just a dude who wanted to found a place with his friends, and that's kind of how the first day of the SMP went, was just everybody finding a nice little home to build together. So I just, good goals of just trying to build a place with your friends, and look, and it all went wrong.
So it
how
did.
far we've come.
So, what were
So-
some of the like initial major factions that developed early on?
So starting off, we had Nassau, and that was basically like the Pirates' Haven. Everybody on that first day at least was there and started contributing. And very early on, other people didn't really want to stay a part of Nassau. They wanted to build their own little kingdom, such as Tyler and the Tortuga boys. They went over and started building Tortuga, and then very soon after, Owen split off, started developing Port Royale. Nicole split off, Noctum split off, developed their own place. And then Crab developed another place called Mysteriosa. And that was kind of like early game, right?
Yeah. There's a few.
Noctum, you look like you have something to say.
I just found it kind of funny that I split off and just literally went across the way to the mainland, and it was just like,
Like
sup.
20 feet away.
Yeah.
I'm going to go vast and great distances away from this place. Oh, hey, look, it's the literal other side of the lake. Let's go there.
Literally same chunk. Like,
Hey, it made it easy when I needed to come and trade shit with Ty.
yes.
There were other smaller faction or other smaller people that went off to do things. I believe Panda in the beginning he went off to build something. In the middle of everything that we got going on, there's a really beautiful structure that was built, but many of the smaller things that have been built on our land or on our server that really don't either aren't
No.
there or don't
What just
contribute to the
happened?
story.
Jack.
They're there,
Jack,
but they're like,
Jack turned his camera off, so it moved us all down. Welcome, guys. I am Shimmy Wookie now. I will be running this podcast.
I don't want to be psyched! Why?
I'm Ryan now.
This is my podcast now, guys.
Jack.
Can we get some pogs in chat?
Jack, are you planning on turning your camera back on, or should I rearrange everyone? I don't know where he went.
Dude,
I think he may have died.
Jack just pieced.
Jack just
Oh,
said
no.
adios. And
Oh
went
my
home.
goodness, that's so funny.
No.
I would say go ahead. Let's just go ahead and move it.
I'm gonna
You might have-
rearrange.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then when he comes back, it's all gonna move again.
Yeah, it's okay. We'll be fine.
Panda, if you say that's a clip, then clip it, damn it.
Yeah, make that clip.
Flip these nuts.
All right, and cite this off the SMP. I make that threat all the time because I pay for the server, but I'm never gonna kick someone out. It would be so rude.
That sounds like a challenge.
Hi, Jack.
Hello.
We're just playing. We're just playing around. It's
man.
fine. It's fine. I knew there were going to be technical difficulties. Here we are. We're okay now.
All right, we're back.
It wouldn't be an
Alright, there was,
SMP.
An imminent threat to the space-time continuum and the functioning of the multiverse as we know it. So I had to reassert the grounding principles of reality because that would mess with the SMP and the stream a lot.
I love
Jack-
how Ryan in
Sure.
the room is like barely on the edge of Jack's there. It's beautiful.
Jack is our sorcerer supreme.
He's got
I
the eye of
mean-
Agamemnus. Or Agamemnon?
Agatha.
Agamemnon.
At least he doesn't have Jonathan. That'd be too powerful for him.
There we go. Fixed.
What were we
I didn't
talking?
realize
What
that turning
were
off
we
my camera
talking
is not a
about?
problem. If I have to do something again, I will be sure to not.
All right. So we were discussing stream with no technical difficulties. Stream with technical difficulties. So the original factions. That's where we were.
In the beginning, there was really, in the beginning and up to this point, there's really only 4 sets of people that matter that are established. There's one that's kind of, ooh, and we're still trying to get to the answer on that one. But there was Nassau, like Ryan was saying, the capital. There was Port Royal, Owen Maid. There's Tortuga, the Turtle Boys, and then there was Isle Verde. Not much fanfare currently, but we're getting there. Again, we're getting there. We're getting there.
Progress.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Ryan, but the whole world in terms of story and lore as we were building it began on one fateful day when a random package and a note were delivered to the call board of Nassau.
Yes, that is true. Sorry. I was Where are we? Sorry. Never mind. Yeah. So one day, during the early days of the SMP, me and Jane, Tyler, Cody, we pretty much resided in Nassau for the most part, and I was running around one day and we had this little announcement board in Nassau where people could put up signs and like little announcement or bounties or whatever. And I found a bounty book that wasn't written by anyone we knew, didn't really mention anything like any name that we knew, and it pretty much just gave us coordinates in our lands. And I got really curious, so I wanted to go figure out what it was about. Um, so kind of went out, found a couple of them, figured it was kind of a bigger thing than just one person that should be handling this. So I recruited Jane. And while we were out there, we ended up finding 5 different chests with red lights around them that were all little supply drops dropped by some organization literally called the organization. And we had no freaking clue who they were. As far as we knew, we were just, little pirate boys running around in Nassau, having a good time, you know. That's
The
pretty
plot
much,
thickens.
yeah, that's pretty much how everything started. That's really where the actual plot began, because up until that point, it was just nothing was happening, no like squabbles or anything like that. Everybody was just kind of like developing their nations and just like really fleshing out what they wanted their little city states to be.
Well, with the crazy antics and adventures that ensued with them trying to find these cachet drops, these packages, the last one, I believe, pointed to a set of coordinates that were way off the grid, like places that nobody had yet to even begin to think about exploring, like several thousand blocks away. Did they mention a name, or did they just leave the coordinates there? I can't remember.
Scythe, I know you're trying to lead me with a question here, but I completely forget what the hell we called that place.
God. Boo. Boo.
See, this
I
is
knew-
why we're having this stream, this podcast. It's not only okay, guys. Panda redeemed no cursing. That's
No,
a 10
you
minute
evil.
redeem here. So yeah, I got a timer going. We'll see how that goes, and if
This is-
somebody messes up, it restarts. Keep it
Panda,
Christian.
you say keep it Christian, and I'm a Jew. Come on, we can.
I was gonna reset the timer.
Oh my god.
The curse word.
Fiddlesticks, Nicole.
Where did we? Oh, it was so. I mean, it talked about a base called Forward Station Claymore. I think that was what Scythe wanted me to say, because we kept saying the wrong name for it for the longest time. And Scythe puts a lot of effort into naming things, and he likes when we get it right. Because if you spell Ozor wrong, he will come for you.
Ozor is spelled with 2 Z's, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, I always thought it was one.
I thought it was
I'm
one.
gonna stab you.
And there's an E at the end.
I thought it was spelled
Yes.
A-U-Z. Is that Oz?
You will die today.
Like the Wizard of Oz.
um.
Forward
Yeah.
Station Claymore.
Yeah,
There-
Forward
Sorry.
Station Claymore was it was so far out of our known area that we didn't really know much about it, other than some weird shady organization was talking about it. So we were like, you know what, we should probably go check this out, just in case there's some sort of threat or something we can use in our isles.
And so they did.
So they did.
I don't know how long you guys want me to just keep talking, so I keep
Just follow
looking at
the
you
story.
guys.
Follow the story. I wasn't
Believe-
there.
I believe you took
Yeah,
4
you rolled
individuals.
the first
in
card,
total.
so this is going to be mostly you talking. Then we'll pivot and there'll be more engagement on the rest.
All right,
I mean,
So-
if some
Ty
of us
was
can
present.
ship
Ty
and
was
figure.
present.
it's true. Tyler was present this whole time.
No, not me. The other one.
Ah,
Uh-huh.
yes. Not
So-
to
I
be
mean-
confused.
That adventure was a lot.
Wild.
A lot.
Me, Tyler, Jane, and Crab. We went off on our first expedition to Forward Station Claymore, and it was a rough and tumble ride the entire time.
Was
That's
it
where-
the first or the second time that you fell into the hole and spent like
That was the
10
first time. The first time I fell into a hole on stream, and it took me like 20 minutes to get out of this hole. It was horrible. I lost 2 horses. I think someone else lost. I think Jane lost her horse. Crab found Stumpy which was hilarious because Stumpy could not run at all. Stumpy could only jump, so it was very, very slow. And that is where Stumpy's, origin story began. Once we actually got to the station, we explored a little bit. We ended up finding some sort of village that was built outside of a bunker. And we entered this bunker, and as we were looking around, we found a book. And while we were reading in the book, it was talking about experiments and such of trying to control and contain a wither, which none of us knew what a wither really was. We've heard the old folk stories and stuff like that, but like,
I've been here.
well, we really didn't, know of one existing on the overworld until then.
So
What's that?
something important to note about this island that they found when they first when they first got to the mainland, because through the end of this long, arduous journey they had to take, they had to travel over the ocean, or an ocean. And when they got across it, there was a bunch of buoys that were all saying, "Don't fucking come here."
Hey, Scythe, you restart the timer.
Why? Why are you this way?
Because I am awful in every way, but no.
10 minutes is so long.
I know.
Longer
I'm
than
gonna
my
explode
attention span,
here, Scythe. Don't do
but-
this.
Longer than my attention span. Dun dun. So
Panda's
here,
partying in the chat.
here they are
Bonk.
at this place that says, "Don't show up, don't bleep, show up, go away." And the four of them decided, hey, let's not do that. And they traveled around this village, gathered some clues that there was something going on behind one of the four houses in the back corner. They ended up finding the entrance to this facility, like Ryan was saying. But when they opened the door, it didn't just. It was like barely opened. So right from the get-go, it barely opened. There was moss everywhere. It was completely dark. The whole thing looked like it had been abandoned. There was nobody in the town either. So it looked like something had obviously gone wrong here. So as they were finding all these notes, epic foreshadowing was epic.
This is
And
my random
foreshadowing.
desk object for you, Panda. Also, Inara has redeemed a posture check. Everybody straighten up and don't sit like a shrimp.
And today I bring you the news.
Anyways, as you were saying.
Ryan, care to continue on with your first-person understanding of how all of the events happened after you discovered this book and turned?
Yeah, of course. We grabbed the book and then shit our pants when a wither broke out of a containment
God.
cell.
God.
Ryan!
Restart.
Wow.
All right.
Okay,
Take
should
your
do we have
guess,
like a bonk sound or something that we can use every time this
I don't have
happens?
any sounds on my stream deck. I want to get that set up though.
Just get like the cursing bleep. Just put it over as
Yeah,
every time.
I definitely want the sounds to be set up. That's for sure.
You
I
want the
apologize,
sound
everyone.
redeems to be set up. That's different. You want to play fart
Yeah.
noises during critical dramatic moments again.
Absolutely. What's the problem?
So yeah, a wither spawned in. It broke out of its containment cell. We were all very, very scared because I can't use explicit words to describe how we were feeling. And we all ran away. And we figured out that, or we kind of came to the conclusion that we needed to. This threat was big enough to pretty much put all of us in danger. So we really had to talk to the rest of the Isles and kind of come at this as like a united front kind of thing, because us four were not going to kill a wither. And then we had an awful trip back where that's where I lost my second horse and half of us died on the way back, and we really just kind of, it was an awful trip. I'm not gonna lie, it was just an awful trip all around. The only bright side was getting Stumpy.
I believe the next important note was the meeting that Ryan called thereafter, where everybody, all 20-some people that were a part of the server at this point, which was just great, all of them joined a council within Nassau. Which, if for those not in the know about it, the way Nassau is built is it's basically a rock that is in a crescent shape around a bay on the inside, and in the center of said bay we had a meeting table. So as pirates, we all convened at our pirate council meeting thing in our little pirate boats and put our pirate pieces of 8 which we have definitely not forgotten about. And then Ryan called for a meeting.
Yes,
I
I
think
did.
I think actually Ty and I are the only ones that still have our piece of eight.
Yeah, I still
Yeah.
got mine.
Some of them
No, they're still definitely
are
all out there. It's
some
just
of them are really secure, and some of them have been given away as gifts. They are all over the place, to be honest. We had them all beginning. The pieces of eight were pretty much just any piece that someone found and wanted to make important, and it kind of dawned on everyone early. Each piece kind of had a little bit of a significance to that person. So mine was the piece of destruction, and it was a bucket of lava that was used to destroy my diamond axe that I had from the very beginning of the server. I had a diamond axe, and because I was trying to set up a little sign so when everyone joined, they could all like see the sign, see the rules of the server, have a nice welcome area. And then we decided, screw that, everybody's got to just fend for themselves. Um, and I had a diamond axe because I used the diamond axe to like cut away the wood so nobody could have the wood because I was rude like that. But we destroyed my axe, and we used the lava that Cody used to destroy it and gave it to me as a piece so I could always remember my axe that was lost.
now remember the fact that he has the piece of destruction, for that is foreshadowing. Even though we did not know it at the time, that was great foreshadowing. But
Yeah, we didn't plan that, which is hilarious.
No, it was 100% intentional.
yeah.
Roll with it.
it's always 100%. We meant to do all of it.
Uh,
So in this meeting that they had, sorry to cut you off, Ryan. In
No, you're
this
good.
meeting that we had, there was a couple of important people that showed up. I don't want to say important, but key to the contour of that episode. There were up at the top of Nassau. There was a fort called Fort Defiance that a couple of people who didn't really interact with the rest of the cast kind of stayed, and they all kept to their business, and nobody bothered them because like weird and they smell bad or something. I don't know, but they come down with a piece of eight of their own, which there's more than eight, so calling it a piece of eight is just like no.
It's a
They
joke.
came down, slapped a piece at the table, and was like, "Hey, we want to have a voice in this council," and so they did. And Ryan,
Oh, so we went around. We all kind of introduced ourselves, introduced our pieces, kind of talked about where we lived and what kind of nation we were representing. Um, Everybody presented a piece, which was nice. Having all the pieces actually in the item frames on the table was very symbolic. It was like it was really the last time the council was really united, like entirely, was at that moment. A little bit of foreshadowing, but I mean, if you've been watching up until this point, you know that. Um, and me convincing everyone to come with us on this expedition to kill this wither was a little more difficult than I really thought it was going to be right out of the gate. I figured everybody would be like, "Yo, you're a king. We're gonna listen to you." Nobody did. If anything, they turned against us and started calling Jane the blind servant. And it took a little bit of convincing to get everyone actually on board to go on this thing. Half of them came along just to laugh in our faces when we were wrong, and the other half took like legitimate convincing. I had to give up my piece of eight as a bargaining chip just to get like 3 people to join us, and then I had to promise like spoils to others as well.
by the way, when he did that, prior to him delivering his piece of eight within this argument, this council meeting, everybody, literally everybody, even some of the people that went with him were kind of on the back foot of, should we go back? Do we trust him? But guy jumps up and is like, "Hey, my piece of eight on the table," and then okay, Jack.
I don't want to talk about it.
Okay, we love you. So, guy throws down his piece of eight, and then everybody's like, "Ooh, ooh," and then he regains a little bit of his credibility, and like he said, about half of us went to laugh in his face, and the other half were like, "Okay, let's see if he's actually serious," and so we went.
I was serious the entire time. None of you trusted me. None
With
of you
good
trusted
reason.
me. What do
How
you mean
many
with
of
good
us
reason?
died?
How many
How
was
many
good
of us
reason?
died?
Okay,
How many
that's
of us
by
died?
the end of the story. Okay. The beginning, I had good intentions.
I
Okay.
got lost twice.
That
figured-
sounds
I
like a you
figured I
To
problem.
be
do
fair,
it. I could
Nicole, you've
handle it
gotten
myself.
lost every time.
That.
I tell
Nicole, you
I need a
literally,
buddy.
Nicole, you hate books and you hate navigation.
Hey, I don't hate books, okay? I just prefer things just easy to read.
You
With
heard it first,
pictures.
ladies and gentlemen. Nicole hates books.
I swear, Scythe, I will light you on fire.
Ain't
it.
no threats of violence.
That'll that's another 10-minute timer.
Like,
Eh, you've got 2 minutes left.
Who's for?
Oh,
All
so
right,
close.
so
But I
you're
always
going to
do get
fight
lost.
the withered threat, which was
Yes.
generally what this wither was called. Was the withered
And-
threat, correct?
Yes. So
Alright.
we all of us just in stampeding fashion, we all got horses, we all armored up, we all just got dressed to the nines in Netherite, and we were like, all right, let's go mess up a wither. So we ride out there, and as we're riding out, there's just like all of a sudden in our Discord, this entity joins our Discord and starts telling us that we should not be doing this. We should not be going to this forward station Claymore, and that we are in trouble.
Now this entity is AI Sigma, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
If
My
you are a
boy.
member of the
Yeah.
Amateur Hour Discord, you are familiar with our boy AI Sigma.
We
His
bully him on
cryptic
the regular.
messages.
And the cult that now wants to bully him to death.
Yeah. Yes.
Hashtag bully Sigma in chat.
Everyone bullies Sigma now.
It's true.
Well,
Christian
all of
moms
that
against
was.
AI Sigma.
Yeah.
It's a thing. They want mugs.
We should get mugs.
Candles coming soon, apparently.
While all of that was happening, we were like on our expedition. We were on the second expedition. We were on our way to Forward Station Claymore, and we find a box, and the box has red lights around it. We're like, oh, let's go check out what this is. Someone goes up and opens it, and all of a sudden it explodes right in someone's face. Turns out there were traps along the way the entire time. When we entered the mountains, there were piles of snow, and we didn't realize it. But while we were running through this area, all of a sudden pressure plates started triggering, and just landmines going off left and right. And everyone is just scattered on this mountain, trying to like navigate through the snow to not set off a landmine, because I don't think we had spawn beds near us. So if you died, you were spawning all the way back in the Isles. It would have taken like 20 minutes to get all the way back. So
Timer's up. You feel free to swear, motherfuckers.
yes,
Thank hell.
you just thank hell. Why?
Yes. Because I'm demonic. It's
Ty,
the
it
use
doesn't
of
count. Guys, I'm gonna end up putting a cooldown on it.
You
What else
animal!
It was me.
You animal!
Yeah.
Why are you like this?
All right, I'm gonna do it again, but we won't restart it if somebody messes up.
Somebody fucks it up.
Tyler,
Yeah,
you
like
are
that.
on the stream, my boy. What are you doing?
Yeah, it's funny.
In
By the way,
panda.
can we get a good redeem or
Yeah,
good
everybody
hydrate
hydrate. Very important.
This counts, right?
Nicole,
Sure.
Hydrated.
hydrate. Oh no, Lorax! I swear to God, if you start spamming,
Here, hydration.
we'll take you off my auto host list.
Ooh.
Huh.
Ooh. 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 Everybody.
Oh no.
I don't-
Not me
What?
going into my Streamlabs account right now to put cooldowns on things, because this is a podcast. I'm trying to keep things on task, and I didn't think about that.
Oh my god,
Hey,
you
you're
are getting so
chaos.
smart.
Sounds. I drink to that.
Oh,
This is incredible.
oh my
Cup
God.
check.
What
I
is
just
it-
have water tonight, guys.
What is Tech Break?
Oh, Jesus Christ! Okay, we're good. We're good. We're good. We're good. Am disaster. It's okay.
Oh my goodness.
Be a fun
There's
stream
so
to do.
many.
Perfect. So where? Oh yeah.
Where were
we
we?
were talking about all the things that blew up along the way.
Yes, the landmines. Directly after the landmines, we came across the grave of Jane's dog that died while we were on the first expedition. Little did we know, we got close to really, pay our respects to, I think it was Sparky. And when we knelt down to actually like say a prayer for Sparky, the entire grave exploded right in our face. Just desecrated his burial spot entirely. And that kind of lit a little fire under everyone, and everyone said, hey, fuck you, organization, for putting these bombs everywhere and rigging a actual grave to explode. So it kind of lit a fire under everyone, and everyone was really hyped up to go finish this expedition and be done with the attempted explosions that were trying to take our life each and every step of this way. We eventually landed at a little beachhead that we built a small little shelter just so we could have some spawn beds and we wouldn't die and spawn all the way at the other end. We tied up all the horses, we set everything up. Everybody got ready for a fight. We dropped all of our boats in the water and we got ready. I gave a rousing speech for everyone. Everyone cheered. I know they cheered because I'm saying the story and there's no actual VOD of it right now.
See, this is why we're recapping. Things have been lost to time.
Yeah, I'm rewriting the history now. Everyone clapped. It was a standing ovation. Everyone loved my speech. That's what we're going with.
Well, everyone who was there.
Nicole was present.
Everyone was there.
Good sir. I interjudged. We all thought you were damn near crazy. You were nutty than squirrel shit.
Nah.
This begins Ryan's corruption arc.
We all thought you were nutty as hell.
It was Nicole. Nicole made me corrupt the entire time.
I beg your pardon. How many times did I get lost because of you?
Scythe, your mic is being super weird.
Or is it? Shut up.
Nah, maybe it was Nicole's.
No,
How many times did I die because of you?
I wasn't keeping count.
How many times did I get lost because of you? How many times did I send the expeditions? I'm lost.
Nicole, that sounds more like a you problem. Honestly.
In my defense, everyone on the server was on that one path. I don't know how you got lost.
In his defense, Nocta, you always manage to get lost whether or not Ryan is involved. So,
not wrong.
And how many times did Ty have to come find me?
Nicole or Noctum?
I don't know.
Question: whose fault is that?
Regardless of whose fault it was, Ryan's corruption arc had begun.
Yes.
The beachhead once more, not 4 of us, but all of us.
The entirety of the SMP just rolls up on this beachhead. We pass the buoys. Everyone's like, what the hell is this? This is the first sign of evidence that Ryan was telling the truth, that Ryan was actually like right about what was out here. We start making our way through the village. Everybody's kind of just checking out houses and whatnot. And all of a sudden, we hear a sound just crashing. And a wither emerges from the forest behind the village. And then a second wither appears, which was a duplicate of the first wither. And we were like, what the hell? There was only one wither when we were here before. Now there's 2. We weren't even sure we could beat the first one. Now we're going to have to fight 2 withers. And thus ensues probably the biggest battle of the SMP. Just
at this point.
Just wither skulls flying, arrows, everybody's running around just trying to swat these things out of the sky. Everybody splits up. One half goes after one half goes after the other. We're whittling them down. All of a sudden, a third wither spawns, which is also a duplicate of the first primary wither. So we have 3 withers rolling around, just messing shit up.
Or reference the name of the wither was Scary Terry and his 2 duplicates, but sorry, continue.
Yes, this is true. We're running around just trying to fight these things, just trying to stay alive. Owen dies twice. Scythe dies. I don't know how many others die. I didn't die. That's all that mattered. That's the only thing that mattered. everybody's loot is just like people are exploding like pinatas. Their loot's all over the ground. We're just running around trying to grab each other's stuff so we can't lose it. Um, Eventually, after probably like a 20-minute fight, we finally kill all of the withers. And I got the last killing blow with my fist, which was hilarious because someone donated to me and told me to do it. So I committed to the bit. We killed all the withers, and everybody just picked up all of our stuff. We were trying to get loot back to whoever, lost their loot and whatnot. And during the whole celebration, Crab, one of my longtime friends who went on the first expedition with me, calls me over to a beach and talks to me a little bit, congratulating me on the fight, like saying like I led us well and all this stuff, and he wanted to give me a gift. And when he felt the need to bestow upon me a rose, just a red rose, and I asked why, and he just said, it's a gift. It like I just found it out here on the field, and I thought it would go nice with you as a king. And this is where the actual corruption began.
Did you say a red rose or a black rose?
It was a red rose to start.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's a testament to the rose's origin, which should be revealed later.
Yes. The rose that started it all. The rose that is still plaguing us to this day. We went home. Victory at our backs. Everybody's tired. Everybody wants to go celebrate and just like, unwind after a long ass expedition of almost getting blown up and murdered by a bunch of withers. Scythe, is that pretty much everything?
That sounds about like Act 1, yeah?
That sounds about like Act 1.
Well, I do want to add before you move on, I was not there for any of the wither fights because I figured either I could handle it if it came to my area. I didn't feel like bothering. And if everyone goes, they could all handle it on their own. So it's not my problem.
That's right. Okay.
Tortuga
Are you sure you
has
just weren't
always
at
been,
work?
All right.
isolationist.
Real life reasons I was at work. Lore reasons. I figured they could handle it.
Lore's been heavily shaped by the real world and people's availability, and I think that's one of like the cool parts about SMP as a storytelling medium, is that it's flexible and always changing.
Mm-hmm. Just constant curveballs, and we're just like we just yes and it and just keep going. It never like trips us up or anything like that. So
Yes, and is the most powerful tool we have at our disposal.
this is true.
Yeah, core philosophy behind the SMP's writing.
Thank you. Cool. But from Act 1 to Act 2, or from the process of Act 2, English.
The transition between Act 1 and 2.
Act 2 was meant to be Act 2 was a transition between Act 1 and Act 3 because that's how 3-act structures work and that's how numbers work. Throughout the entirety of Act 2, we explored Ryan's corruption via this rose that was given to him. It wasn't really directly explained that it was the rose that was corrupting him. However, the writing was on the wall that it was that.
So as time went on during Act 2, Act 2 wasn't as structured as Act 1. It wasn't as focused on these big events or anything like that. It was very focused on kind of little things that were happening that maybe not everybody picked up on, but just little things that would show me as a king becoming more and more, authoritarian over Nassau, building up these walls in the name of defense around Nassau. Kind of making it so people outside of Nassau can't really come in anymore. Nassau's not really open to anyone, right? But when other ports try to do the same thing, I got really mad. I got really upset. I was like, I'm the king. What are they doing? They don't have this authority to tell me I can't enter a place in the Isles. I'm the king. I'm the king of the Isles. How are you going to tell me I can't enter?
Easy. Don't enter.
Yeah, it's easy. Yeah. But to the withered king, it didn't matter. That was my land. It was my right to enter that land because I was the king. And Port Royale, they stood in our way. They didn't want me to enter. They wanted to be more autonomous, and I didn't want that. Tortuga was developing a boat, just a boat,
Well, to sail.
About what?
just to sail, just a straight up,
Can you
just
imagine?
straight up a
Can you
boat to
imagine pirates
sail.
wanting a boat?
Yeah,
Yeah.
how dare you want a boat, dude?
Small little galleon, so whatever.
So- but I thought they were gearing up for some sort of conflict and trying to build up their military might so they could challenge Nassau to be, the powerhouse of the Isles.
The development of the
Um,
Tortuga Navy has always been a point of conflict.
It is,
Continually.
Yeah.
So.
we don't like them having a navy.
Yeah, but
They're-
we got turtles. We got to be in the ocean. It's the way it is. It's just
Yeah, it's just your brand. At this point, you need to keep the
I
brand.
have a very strong defense. Hence, turtle shell. Boom. It makes sense.
All right, we can go with that one. Eventually, I got to the point, and I was so paranoid and so conflicted with the allegiances of the people of the Isles that I decided that striking at them preemptively and showing them the might of Nassau would be a good plan. Spoiler alert, it wasn't. And we attacked Port Royale, destroying part of their wall, weakening their defenses, and absolutely nuking Izzy and her house. We blew that shit to Kingdom Come. It was gone. Like
And her
it's
cats.
still, and her cats. I don't know how many cats we killed, but it was a lot. When we went after Tortuga, they moved their ship in front of their port, and we hired a mercenary to help us basically roll up and just destroy their boat. So we
It was a nice boat too.
we
It was
just
nice.
blew the boat away. We raided their docks, killed their pillagers, burned
Killed my
port.
villagers is what
Yeah,
happened.
sorry,
They
I
weren't
keep-
pillagers. What's wrong?
You know what? You're right.
can't
All right, I was a dick. I'm sorry.
Villages is on
You,
brand
you
for
heard it
another.
here, folks. A formal apology.
I'm sorry. I was a dick as a king. Okay, I was a
Yeah,
dick.
no, I remember. I was there.
King.
I'm
Abs-
different. I'm a very nice king.
So yeah, at that point, all of the Isles were in conflict. Jane was starting to lose faith in her king, and really the only people that stood by Nassau were, me, Tyler, Jane, Cody, and the mercenary we had hired.
Do
And
not want to refer to that mercenary by any name other than the mercenary, or
we just call him the mercenary. The mercenary was with us, and there were 5 of us. And I kept finding little things that kind of hinted toward a spy in Nassau. Someone turned traitor, some turncoat. There was a little smuggling hole in my wall that someone was using to smuggle out information. So eventually I searched everyone's houses, and inside Cody's house I found a journal, basically calling me a mad king. I've gone corrupt with power. He needed to stop me, things along this line. And it turned out Cody was the traitor the entire time, or at least to my crazy ass, he was. So I had Jane help me construct an execution pit where we would drop him into lava. And I told Jane that it was a sauna for her little heart to build this death machine.
To be fair, I would like to point out that Jane was very much upset when she realized what it actually was. Very much heartbroken. Jane did want to be here tonight, but unfortunately she had some things going on, so she wasn't unable to join us.
We finished up this thing. I paid the mercenary to go get Cody, bring him back. He needed to stay on trial, so he brought him back, and I put him on trial. I put him in this drop door into a lava pit cage, and during while I was talking to him and accusing him of being a traitor and turning against the crown, you could hear Jane's protests, and the mercenary held her at crossbow point, so she could not interfere in the workings of the king. And I said a fantastic line. I said, "Die as you lived," lying to my face, and I dropped Cody into the lava, and he burned to death in front of all of us.
Flaming
Well,
nuggets in the chat for Cody.
little did I know that decision was probably my entire downfall. As a king, as the withered king, in any sense of the word, any support I had was gone at that point. Cody was dead. Jane and me had a complete fight. I told her to get out of Nassau or I'd kill her. The mercenary wanted nothing to do with me, didn't even want money for what they were just asked to do because they were so disgusted with what I've become. And Tyler snuck out. He ran. He absolutely dipped out of Nassau. And this is where we
Just to
actually
clarify,
introduced
which Tyler?
my brother. My brother is
Okay.
Tyler. This one is Ty.
Okay.
Right? That's what we go with.
Yes.
No, the other way
Okay.
around.
Oh my god.
No.
Oh my god. I
Don't-
always get it wrong. This is how hard it is when we have
We
two
call
people with
your
the same
brother
name.
Baby Ty.
Okay, we'll go with that. So Baby Ty dipped. He was like, "Peace out. I'm done with this. There's no reason for me to be here." He abandoned his bar that he had been working on the entire time. He was like, "Nope, I'm out. Fuck this. This guy's crazy." He was gone. Hannah, that's ingenious. I see that. I see that. Um, the this is where we first introduced raiding each other and introducing more streamers to the mix. So I raided my brother, Baby Ty, and he met up with Jane after fleeing Nassau, and they ran around trying to gather support for a revolution of sorts, of a way to overthrow me and destroy me.
When Act 3 began.
Right. So that transition, that raid, was really where Act 3 kind of began.
Just to clarify, this is Act 3 of Season 1.
Of Season 1, yes. From there, I pretty much just wanted to gather power, and a voice kept telling me to, like, that the power I was seeking was really close already. And it turned out it was referencing the beacons we had all built out of the remains of the Withers. So I ran around, I stole all of the beacons from everyone else. Port Royale had one that was gifted to them after the fight with the Withers. Tortuga had 2 of them that they had fought and killed Withers themselves to gain. And Nassau had one that was a gifted to me by Jane after the first fight with the Withers. So I stole 4 of them and I equipped them into a super pyramid that we had built, the Temple of the Sun, and I co-opted it into being basically my doomsday weapon, my way of just harnessing the power of the Withers and just using it to be like just a god king of the Isles.
A little bit
Knock.
of lately added lore at this point. This is something that was not, discussed until I became part of the SMP. But retroactively adding lore. This was the point where observers from Jericho were watching what was going on. They were watching this rampage, watching the creation of this super weapon, and trying to figure out what was going on and reporting back to Jericho proper. They didn't interfere, but they were there.
And just a small thing, like between the ending of Act 2 of Season 1 into the transition of Act 3, Ryan was slowly losing all of his supporters. So he was losing other people. So, like, obviously, Isle Verde is very close to Nassau. I was literally building a house, and this man, like, held me at crossbow point, telling me to go back in my house. And I was like,
I played the
why?
5th.
I was like, why? I'm building a house for my villager. And he held me at crossbow point. So there are some depictions within the madness slowly descending from Act 2 to Act 3. That was a good turn point for people to slowly realize that something's wrong.
Yes.
By the end of Act 2, going into Season 3, or Act 3 of Season 1, my bad, By that point, Ryan was completely isolated.
Yes, I was alone. I had no friends. Just a man betrayed by the country he loved.
Nassau
God.
was completely bereft of all man save for the lonely, mad, withered king.
Yes, I was alone, but I had all the power in the world. I was allowed to fly. I could fly. No one else could do that. Why could I do that? Because I had harnessed the power of the withers, guys. Because I was a god. I had my beacons.
But even
That
gods
kinda
can
consists of
fall.
Even gods can fall. This is true. This is quite true.
God can bleed. So Act
Um,
3 revolved
w-
around Ryan gaining all this power and realizing he was, or not necessarily realizing, but the audience realizing he was all alone, and Tyler gathering power from the rest of the Isles to once again convene all as a singular unit out of a bunker that was gifted to him by Fall Creek, which Fall Creek is another mainland isle. It is to the south. What,
For the
is it to the
record,
south?
directions in the SMP are very, very confusing. None of
I'm
us know
st-
what is north.
I
We
still
just go
get
by
lost.
coordinates.
Yeah,
Even
Down-
then, it doesn't work.
directions
Down
are wrong.
under the mainland of Isle Verde rests another isle by the name of Fall Creek, run by a man called Chaos Lord 76, also known as Chaos. And about or when Tyler was fleeing from Nassau, in in his attempts to not get murdered by his crazy older brother, he stumbled upon Fall Creek, and Chaos was just like, "Oh yeah, here's a bunker, go nuts." Which, yeah, and yeah, it had about as much fanfare as me literally saying that. Nobody ever really picked up on the fact that Chaos did that, and it took me like berating everybody, being like, "Hey, that happened," to recognize that that was kind of a thing. But eh, eh, eh.
It's fine.
So yeah, Tyler C. Uh, gather the strength of the Isles, who are now all beyond afraid, beyond upset, and ready to strike back at this withered king. Gather them all up out of this bunker and set forth to collapse on our once frivolous and wonderful and great king of a man by the name
We
of
were all
Ryan.
ready to fight God and die trying.
Literally.
Some of them did. Some of them did die trying.
Yeah.
You'll never
100%.
guess what happens next.
Dun, dun, dun.
So I was sitting.
Well, they
Uh,
also got the support from Tortuga to help
This is
take
true.
you down
Tor-
too.
Tortuga joined the fight for this one.
They I
Tortuga.
supported them with the my shotgun super bow.
This is true. He created a super bow that could like two hit people in netherite. It was deadly as fuck. It was ridiculous. I was flying through the sky, enjoying my new godlike powers, just free as a bird, just flying around, just minding my own business. And then all of a sudden, an entire army, everyone on the SMP minus me, showed up in full netherite, just dressed to the nines. Everyone had tridents because it was raining, so everyone was like, it'd be cool. Let's throw lightning bolts around the entire time because that'll be fun. So everyone rolls up. Everybody tries to talk me down, and I'm fully corrupted by this rose at this point.
Side
This
note
rose-
for 5 seconds. Not everyone was there.
Right. I kidnapped Nicole because Nicole was not there.
Lore-wise, I was kidnapped and put into a very lovely cage. Thanks for that. Real life-wise, I actually just was away and I was actually visiting family.
Yeah.
Also,
Let-
not everyone was in Netherite. I was in Diamond.
Jack out here rocking the old blues.
Jack started that trend of one of the fucking random people just being completely unprepared. I'm carrying that for you, man. We're doing it. We're doing it.
An incredible fight breaks out. They can't talk me down. I tell them I have gained the power of the withers. They're all amazed that I can fly. Because nobody can fly, this is I'm using the withers power now. I've somehow gained control using the beacons in whatever formation I've built them in. And I tell them that I have the power of the withers under my control, and they don't believe me. So what do? I have to prove them wrong. So I summon two withers named Barry and Larry, and a fight ensues. Everybody starts just beating the shit out of each other. The withers are just tearing the temple apart. Just complete ape shit. I'm flying around with a sword, just whacking people. I'm throwing lightning tridents at each other. Everybody's fighting. Someone died like 4 times. I don't even remember who. Just people were dying left and right, running back into the battle, picking up stuff, and just continuing the fight, just over and over, for like 15 minutes, until someone finally got the idea that the power is from the beacons. Maybe
Hey, hi.
maybe taking the beacons can remove the power. So they fought their way in. They broke through the defenses I've put over my beacons, and they ended up destroying the beacons and taking them for themselves. When the
defenses
beacons,
were like 2 layers of stone.
no, it wasn't. It was a full thing of obsidian. But you guys dug through the bottom like moles. You're supposed to go through the top. I put water on it so you couldn't drop TNT on it. I built the whole thing, and you guys were like, "Joke's on you. You never expected mole people." And I was like, "You know what? You're right. I did not expect the mole people. You
With the
snuck
I
under."
bubble
also
Rule
want to
number
note,
32: always expect mole people.
I also want to note it that the actual names of the withers are not Barry and Larry. Their names are so vast and unknowable that they're not actually pronounceable by mortal tongues. But the closest translation is Larry and Barry.
It was just complete nicknames. It had to be nicknames, guys. I couldn't, I could not understand them.
What are your names? Ryan asked as he summoned them.
Barry it
Barry.
is.
There it is.
So the fight broke out, all of that happened, the beacons were destroyed, I lost my power. I fell from the sky. Actually almost died from that fall too. So that was really unfortunate because I didn't have any armor on, so I didn't have feather falling. So I fell and almost broke my legs. And everybody chased me into a corner and surrounded me. They built a little box around me, pretty much read me my last rites. Tyler handed Jane his crossbow, his Uber crossbow, and Jane shot me in the head and put me down for the good of the Isles. The first shot didn't kill me, which was even more concerning. It just broke the crown on my head, so she had to shoot me twice. And then they just pillaged my corpse for whatever I had left. And as far as I knew, I was dead.
And so ended the reign of the Mad Withered King.
The Mad Withered King had fallen. The Isles had risen to a threat again, but they didn't stay together. Scythe, do you wanna pick this up?
Oh yeah, I gotcha.
This is kind of where you become crucial.
This is where the torch was passed from one great writer to another.
This was the end of season 1, and
Season 1 ended with not a bang, but a whimper. And a very
Before we
specific
start
event.
season 2, we should all hydrate.
this is true. Season 1 ended with a deafening silence. I literally died and just died and turned off my stream.
Oh,
That was the end.
Actually, that's more than this. There was something
Technically,
else
you're right.
important happened there.
This is true.
There was an end credit scene, if you would, where with the whole world faded to black, we heard the voice of a distant, withered king, or so we assumed. He sounded helpless. He sounded scared.
Everybody
He
posture
sounded
check.
alone and helpless. And not only was he helpless and alone, it seemed, but as a matter of fact, that last word was incorrect. For there were two voices that were speaking about him, not to him, but about him.
Mhm.
He could hear it.
But I couldn't see them. I was in some sort of cell, and I didn't know what was happening. And I couldn't remember anything.
Epic foreshadowing. So, this is officially where season 1 ended. There was a bit of a gap between season 1 and season 2, and it's about 8 months. About 8 months. The events of the world have taken us about 2 months at this point, and between Act 2 and Act 3, there's going to be about another 2-month gap. Just somebody write that down. That's confirmed canon. So, with this 8-month gap, many things had changed within this world. The most prominent would definitely have gone to the fact that the once King Ryan being gone, dead, and basically destroying and dismantling the council left not only Nassau abandoned entirely, but the council, which will forever and lovely be referred to as the Old Council from this point moving forward. The old council not being a part of itself, the old council no longer being formed, all the members that were a part of it, Tortuga, Port Royal, Isle Verde, Fall Creek, I believe they were a part of it, Mysteriosa, the place that Gamer Crab created, all of them dispersed. And for the next 8 months, were more or less completely isolated from one another. The only contact and information that was spread from one person to another was the trade routes that connected one isle to another. For even though we are pirates and even though we no longer wish to seek counsel with one another, I still had to make that money, baby. It's all about that money. With Nassau being abandoned, the next closest city being right on the mainland of Isle Verde quickly became the trade center of the world, because everybody wanting to avoid Nassau's waters just kind of like hopped right in through her side entrance and just kind of seeking peace and safety, and then hopped out the other side so they didn't have to even go close to it, which made Isle Verde grow swiftly and prosperously in the world of trade.
And I was able
Tortuga,
to keep the wall.
yeah,
The wall
yeah,
definitely helped because that way, everyone felt kind of
safe.
like, yeah, secure just walking through the land. It's like, hey, Tortuga can come by boat, Fall Creek can just walk, and Port Royal can, not bring the giant ship and just
Just to
come over.
recap, at this point, what are the factions and who leads them?
So, good question, because that's about where I was going to be getting to. Isle Verde was still led by Nicole, who broke free from her containment after nobody came to save her. And
So
listed as
salty about that.
Hmm?
I want to
Still
let you. I want to let.
salty.
I want to let you out if I lived.
with all
Bullshit.
the
I would
salt
have
in the
killed
world-
you.
I mean, you put her in there,
With all the
so
salt in the world driving Isle Verde to new, greater, greener heights, green mean money. There was Fall Creek again as well, also being led by Chaos. Tortuga, at the beginning of Act 2, but prior to this, within the 8 months, the formalization of this process began. But Tyler, Taiji, the Turtle Yonko, here with us in attendance this evening, was in the process of becoming the Emperor of Tortuga, this wonderful cove. They rebuilt all the things that were destroyed, obviously, and their life moved on, or so it would seem to the outside looking in. On the inside looking out, many other things have been happening, but we'll get there eventually. And Port Royal, after all of the events that happened and watching his best friend basically turn evil and try to kill everybody in the world, the leader of Port Royal, Owen, had realized he had had enough of governing and ruling a people, so he stepped down. And through the bravery that the mercenary showed in the Battle of the Withered King, he asked the mercenary to take over Port Royal's rule, and he did so. Not necessarily lovingly, sparingly, or in any other good words that you can think of, but he did it nonetheless. There was another isle that was established within this time. The forces of Port Royal, Fall Creek, and the remaining members of Fort Defiance that lived in isolation atop Nassau paired together to, I guess, facilitate and pay for a forward station to be built across from the ruins of the Temple of the Sun. Make sure be a safeguard to make sure no more evil came from that area. That place was originally named Forward Station Broadsword. However, by the time that we pick up the story in season 2, this place has grown to be prosperous in its own right due to the fact that it is a safe haven, kind of like with Isle Verde along the water or the naval route. This forward station was prosperous and safe to travel through to get from Port Royal to Fall Creek to Tortuga. So, as this place grew out of being a forward station, it grew to become the city of stone known as Azor. While the project was initially led by its chieftain, Jaren Scythe, how you doing? Is me. How you doing, baby? He swiftly became a governor as Azor grew and developed into a city state and isle within its own right. We pick up the torch of Act 2, Season 2, with Tyler Tyler C, the Kingslayer, as I will refer to him, because that is the name that he was colloquially given after he beat the shit out of his brother.
Rude.
Word, yeah.
Facts.
Tyler.
No, you deserved it.
Maybe.
No.
You deserved
Tyler,
it.
the Kingslayer, had been basically squatting in the bunker that was provided to him by Chaos, and Season 2 started with Chaos basically giving him the boot, being like, "Get the fuck out of here." And through the lens of Tyler being hiding for his life for the past 8 months, we go back through and see where all the Isles have been and where they're all at. He traveled to Isle Verde to see that it had grown prosperous in its own right, and Nicole welcomed him with open arms. Am I correct?
After a bit of yelling at like
You were a little mad.
It's a
A little
traditional
bit.
part of the negotiation style of Isle Verde to begin with some yelling and accusations.
Usually
I'm
it's like
sorry,
one-
so-called best friend didn't come try to find me when he knew I was captured for 8 months and he was hiding in a bunker? Bruh,
It's Tuesday. What are you gonna do? You know.
Tuesday my ass.
So after Nicole basically invited herself along to see the rest of the Isles, for she had not seen anybody either. Nobody had seen anybody.
I was invited,
They-
thank you.
We'll go with that. Yeah. In no particular order, they traveled to Fall Creek to say, or they traveled back to Fall Creek to say hi to Chaos. They traveled to this new land, Azor, to see its beautiful night, and see me and my beautiful face and my booty shorts.
The mystical booty
Scythe is still
shorts.
Scythe booty shorts trademarked. Sequin, I think. I don't know. We'll get there. Maybe one day. But they found me in this new place, and I opened them with welcome arms as well. And preliminary discussions of trade were developed between Azor and Fall Creek. They traveled to Port Royal to find the mercenary, and kind of taken a few steps back from the original vision Owen had intended. More on that later. They didn't really get far into the city. That's all we need to know at this time. They traveled to Mysteriosa to find Crab. I don't believe they found anybody else, but it is known to the world at this point, or it is known to, in current times, not back then, but
We
from
now
the
understand that at the
Thank
time,
you. Thank you. Words are hard. We understand now, but at the time we did not, that Jane had basically marooned on shore of Mysteriosa and had begun to develop estranged relationship with Crab. Not like a platonic relationship. Let's get that one out of the way. There's no. Ooh. Y'all
They
got
just
nasty.
lived on the island together.
and they were
Y'all got dirty
roommates.
minds.
They were
Bastard.
roommates.
Alone for months.
They got to the bedroom of the castle, and there was only one bed.
Jack, don't go starting things. Anyways,
Oh my god.
No.
we
I
now
told my
understand that
Minecraft.
Jane was out on Mysteriosa, but when this visit occurred, she did not make an appearance.
Yeah, she was nowhere to be found. It was just Crab. Crab and all of the many secrets that him and all of us are hiding. I believe they traveled to Tortuga as well. Am I correct in that assumption, Tyler?
Yeah, briefly, I believe. It's been a
Was that
while.
even English? Hello?
I said briefly, I believe.
Everybody, you guys can't see it,
I
but
acknowledge dog.
Ryan's
Oh,
dog is present.
Aww.
Everybody say hello, doggo.
Hello, doggo. We love
Is
him.
that Van or May?
This is Melee.
Pretty baby. Anyways,
With
so
this
throughout all
reintroduction into
this, the Tortugan Empire is rising. It's gaining strength. The navy is growing. Still,
after this brief introduction into the world that we were given through Tyler's eyes, we took a step back. Took a step back through time and discovered what had happened to this withered king after he supposedly died, which he canonically did die. It's just through the power of a lot of people. A lot of people in the first act cannot, or like they died, but they didn't canonically die, except for like one person. But that one's just me splitting hairs because I want an answer for small things. But
But I died and
Ryan
was not found.
Ryan canonically did die,
They could not.
and
I was gone.
while he canonically died, he also lived because we started the second episode of this first act through the eyes of Ryan in this cage that he woke up in, which was a nice cabin, but as soon as he walked out the door, it was obviously a chamber of some form.
It was a farce. They didn't even give me a real tree. They gave me sticks. It was fake.
All you deserved is sticks, you rat.
I woke up in a bed in a little cabin with a little bunny rabbit, and that was it. That's all I did. I had a bunny rabbit and
You're
just a
lucky you had
little
bunny.
and a little pond and a little fake ass
Oh.
tree in the corner. All the lighting was artificial. There was just walls and glass, and I was just in a cage, bro. I was upset. I was not happy with that.
the chamber
So-
of fake.
But I the chamber, but I couldn't understand what had happened. I thought we were fighting withers on the beach of Forward Station Claymore.
Something else to note about Forward Station Claymore and this facility that he also managed to wake up in. The Isles are definitely a pre-industrial age society. They're definitely stone tools or stone age kind of people. They're pirates. They don't have gunpowder or anything like that. So to see
Pirates have gunpowder.
we didn't. Shut up. Shut up. Stop poking holes in my logic. Damn it. In
called
this
Texas.
in this world that Ryan woke up to find himself in, the technology that was presented was far above and beyond anything that the people of the Isles had ever seen. Like this was like legitimate modern day culture, like something that you would go and expect to see when you go to a Honda dealership, like that kind of shit. So
Honda
it was
dealership?
jarring for the fact that it was so modern and so futuristic and so just alien to these people. But you were saying, Ryan.
Oh, so yeah, I woke up in this little cage, and when I woke up, I heard a voice being broadcast to me through some means. I'm not really sure. Asking me what I remembered, but all I could remember was the fight with the Withers. We had won. I remember winning. I remember Jane giving me the Nether Star, the heart of the Wither. That's all I remembered. And
As all these questions were asked,
they
second
ca- yeah, there were more than one person asking me these questions, and then they started performing tests on me. They started performing tests. Tests, bro. It was dumb. And they gave me wool, and they told me to they gave me red wool and green wool, and they told me to put, I don't remember which one, but they told me to put one in the box by name, and I put one in, and they told me it was wrong. Apparently I'm colorblind. Who knew? I've been colorblind this whole time. And they asked me to figure out, they dropped a little animal in I don't even remember. Was it the bunny? I don't remember. They dropped an animal in and a baby zombie, and they had me figure out which one was friend and which one was foe. They were just running friend or foe exercises on me.
This
And
was
as
a rather difficult experience for you, clearly.
Yeah, I didn't know where I was. They were telling me that so much time has passed since the expedition, and I couldn't believe it. Eventually, the voices left, and they were discussing what to do with me.
Eventually, also another voice joined in as well. There were three
Hold on,
distinct
Scythe, we
voices,
can't
all
quite hear you
arguing.
over a little static from Nicole.
Yeah.
Sorry. There was at the end of it, there was three distinct voices, and they all seemed to be arguing with one another. They definitely weren't getting along.
They were not getting along. They all wanted to do different things with me, and it was annoying and stupid, and I didn't want to be there, and I was worried about my people, so I had to get back to Nassau. So I broke my ass out. All right, I just broke out of that shit. I broke the door. Did I break the door or did I break the wall? I think I think I
You
broke the door.
wall.
You broke out regardless.
Regardless, I got out, and I escaped. And when I emerged from this facility, I realized where I was. I was still in Forward Station Claymore. Whoever they were, whoever these people, this organization was, they had rebuilt the facility, and they have housed me there. The fight happened. The Wither fight was real. The damage was still on the outside. The village in front of the bunker was still destroyed, but they had rebuilt the bunker itself. But I fled. I ran back to Nassau. I had a pilgrimage back across the same path we took to get to Forward Station Claymore. But this time I was making it, and I didn't know any of the history that had happened since that last time we had been there. And on my way back, I revisited some old sites. I saw the exploded Sparky grave again. That was fun. Uh, Eventually made my way back to the Isles and saw what state they were in and realized this is all wrong. Everything has changed. And I made my pilgrimage back to Nassau, um back to the home of the Isles, the capital, where me and my friends had developed this world, this country, this nation, whatever you want to call it, where the birthplace of the Isles was Nassau. That was the first port ever erected, and seeing it just abandoned, just no one was there. Moss had overgrown everything, leaves.
I just want to point out that I have a little write up of kind of the general outline of everything that's happened in the SMP so far. This part is labeled lots of sad. That's it.
It was so sad doing this because it was just like even out of character, just revisiting the place that I've spent so much time on and just seeing it literally just overgrown and abandoned. All the lights are gone. There's like trees are overgrown, moss, leaves, just everywhere. Mobs are running amok. Like the entire place had just fallen apart and was abandoned, and it was so heartbreaking. Um, and to figure out what had happened, uh, I ended up finding Jane's journal in what we called the liquor cabinet, which was my secret little laboratory that I was cooking up potions and shit that I didn't want anybody to know of. And as soon as I showed it on stream, everyone knew where the liquor cabinet was, so it didn't matter. But Jane had left her diary in there, and I read through the diary, and I read through the adventures we shared throughout season 1, and that's where it started filling in my memory because I only remembered up until the Wither fight. But reading Jane's journal, I could get a glimpse into all the stuff I had missed. The monster I had become, me killing my friends, me killing Izzy all of her cats, killing killing the villagers at Tortuga, killing Cody, threatening Jane.
Damn journal itself.
Yeah, that behind the scenes, I accidentally broke the journal, but we don't have to talk about that. That was a scare. That was a scare. I accidentally hit the journal while I was working on stuff, and I didn't realize that if you're in creative and you knock something out of an item frame, it breaks it forever. It's gone. So I accidentally deleted the journal. So I had to roll back the server by a day, take pictures of every single page of the journal, roll the server forward to all those changes everyone had made, and then type up the entire journal word for word, spelling mistakes included.
Commitment to the bit, man.
I wanted to make it as accurate to Jane's word as possible, so I straight up made it word for word, spelling mistake for spelling mistake, made the exact replica of the journal.
I remember I was in the middle of one of my classes last semester, and I got this message on my phone, or I feel the buzz. I look down. I think I fucked something up, says Ryan, and I'm like, oh my god, what have you done? And I could not concentrate for the rest of that class because of this fucking. Ah. Eventually, we got it taken care of, and that's what matters.
Right.
So
But
basically,
yeah,
Ryan owes Scythe emotional damages.
Yes. Yes. We'll work something out, Scythe. We can. I'll have my people reach out to your people.
I think at this point, from all the shit I've caused you, probably.
So we read
You
through the
think that
diary of Jane, and we got to relive the trauma of Jane on my stream through my eyes, and it was horrible and heartbreaking. And I couldn't do it anymore, so I walked out to the temple, and I found my own grave, and it was a very weird, somber experience to be standing in front of your own grave, with everyone else still thinking you're dead, because I haven't seen anyone yet. So they all think I'm dead. I haven't seen anyone. I don't know if anyone else is alive. It's been, 8 months since I died and had been taken into captivity like a wild gazelle or something. And I just, where's my herd, bro? My herd's gone. I had no one. And I'm just sitting there, just hanging out at my grave. And eventually, my brother appears behind me, followed by Scythe. And I got to see that they were still alive and that not all was lost. There was still people in the Isles.
So on that note, something that I forgot to mention about the first episode back. Tyler ended his stream with the two of us going and visiting that grave. Or it was more him going out there and me vehemently trying to say, "You shouldn't do that. Oh God, you really. We should really be doing like literally anything else. You want to go like dance behind the fucking break room? Let's go dance in the break room and let's not be here." But he decided instead he wanted to go visit this grave and found Ryan there, kind of hanging out.
I was just bulling
He
on
was
my own grave,
straight booling.
as
So
ballers do.
after that, or the next episode with us going to see Ryan, we took a look into his eyes to see how he got to that moment. From episode 1 to episode 2, they were supposed to
Hmm.
end on the same note of Ryan telling his brother, and that line was,
Oh, what, hello, brother. That's the line, right? Did I forget it?
there we go. It's funny because on the second episode, one of y'all motherfuckers would refuse
It was
to
hello,
say
little
anything.
brother.
So there was
Hello,
like
little brother. That's what I said.
there was a really awkward like 30 seconds to a minute where one of us needed to say something, but you just refused to. So I was sitting there internally the entire time. I'm just, oh God, just fucking say something. Tyler, just say something. I don't care if it breaks continuity at this point. Just fucking say something.
Trying to get 2 episodes to play out the same way at the end was very difficult, because during mine all these mobs are just running amok, just attacking me over and over and over. So we had to kill off the mobs. I had to have someone off screen killing the mobs so they wouldn't kill me, because I had no armor, I had nothing. I was just in nature, dude, just getting my ass whooped by every mob possible. And I was just waiting for them to show up so I could say the line and be over with the stream. But it was just like a complete shit show, and I'm so thankful I didn't actually die, because it would have been hilarious if I actually died. Because then we would have had to figure out how to get me all the way back there, because I would have spawned like all the way back at Claymore at that point.
So yeah, they were supposed to end on a similar note, but throughout the second episode, we actually went a little bit farther in time, took Ryan back into the uh, walls of Azor. It was more just me like, God damn it, get in here. Nobody else needs to see that you're alive. I don't want people coming to kill me too. Get in here. Get to safety. So
Everyone still harbored very negative feelings toward me during this time. So Scythe was very scared that just having me out there would get me killed again, or
I didn't want to be
being
seen.
being seen with me would label him in a negative manner as well. So we hid. I hid in Azor. Azor took me in. Now I'm still a hobo living in Azor. Good luck getting rid of me, bitch. And what did we do after that? It was Tyler's stream after that. Tyler was trying to.
Of Act 1 of Season 2, really the only other main plot point that we hit was with the help of Lord Jack and the Turtle Yonko we have among us here, the celebration of Tortuga's new crowned emperor, Taiji. I call him Taiji.
He is Taiji on the stream, so Taiji is a good usage.
Yeah.
Yes.
The
He's
crown-
actually Your Highness to us.
It was about
Yeah,
time that we had an actual benevolent leader arrive at the
Someone who knew what they were doing and
I
could get the job
corrupt
done.
Burger King. It was just a refreshing contrast to the previous season to just
Oh,
see
yeah.
a shining beacon of pure benevolence in the dark, stormy clouds of just depression and vile corruption and nepotism.
Just nepotism.
I completely agree.
We'll go with that. So there was really just a whole lot of more faffing about, everybody getting used to how everything was within the Isles. And the final episode of Act 1 was us being invited to this coronation. We didn't know what was going on. Nobody did. So we were all gathered, and a few important things were noted in that ceremony. What were you going to say, Nicole?
I was gonna say before that, Ryan was kind of escorted uh, back through the Isles, Fall Creek, Isle Verde, to kind of like slowly figure things out and I believe try to get your memory back, Ryan. If I'm
I
not
was-
mistaken.
So the last I had heard of Jane was in the diary. So I didn't know where Jane was. And Jane was my best friend. I needed to find out what had happened to her. I needed to find out if she was still alive. And as far as I could tell, there was no sign of her. And I talked to Tyler, and Tyler said that he got word that Jane was at Mysteriosa with Crab. So during right before the coronation, I went to Mysteriosa to confront Crab, see if Jane was there, and I confronted Crab, and it was revealed that Crab was the one that gave me in Jane's journal. She talked about Crab giving me a gift, which was the rose. So I knew that Crab had done something to me, and that Jane was in danger. Crab was evil. Something was wrong. Crab was not a good dude. So I confronted Crab, and Crab told me that the reason they gave me the rose, which was because I didn't pay them for the expedition, which is 100% true. Nassau is broke as fuck. We don't pay anyone. We're known for just not paying. And he was really upset, and he was given this this rose as kind of a token from a figure in a hood, and told that huh
A hooded figure, if you would.
Mysterious hooded figure, worth
A mis-
remembering.
yes, a very important
mysterious
character for later.
You say, Jack?
What was that,
they-
Jack?
I was echoing the commentary on the mysterious hooded figure and nothing else.
and
Jack, for those who would like to know, when this
Uh,
hooded figure, do we want to?
what are you going on about, mate?
Don't do
disregard-
it. Don't do
Yeah,
it.
what are you going on about?
Don't do
I feel like-
it.
Zip
Knock
it.
that off.
I
Shut
feel
up.
like the hooded figure isn't actually that important in the overall
you're
scheme of
right.
things.
Yeah, knock that off.
You know,
It's
yeah.
fine.
Sorry,
Anyways,
don't
The-
And I don't know what you're talking about. Crab being evil or mean.
Oh my
Crab
goodness!
is such a nice guy. He's the best.
we
So
love the
Crab
homie
gave-
game of Crab. I'm gonna give him a shout out now. But the character was suspected of being evil.
I
No, the character's great.
I
Very nice guy.
confronted Crab, and they said that they gave me this bad luck charm, which would do something awful to whoever it was given to. That's what he was told by the hooded figure, and the hooded figure said, if you ever want to get back at someone, use this. So he did, and that led to my corruption and the destruction of Nassau, and just everything that ensued was because of that rose. Um, and I asked him where Jane was, and he told me that Jane wasn't at Mysteriosa, that my brother had lied to him, or lied to me. My brother had lied to me. Um, so I was conflicted. Do I believe Crab, who now I know gave me this rose and caused all this hardship for everyone, or do I believe my brother, who had killed me? It is a very difficult situation to be in, to figure out which one to believe. But in the end, I ended up believing my brother, and I just kind of assumed Crab was lying to me. Um, and then we went on and we had the coronation.
Well, you also had to convince people to obviously come with you. That was
Yes,
where.
we had a lot of negotiations with Noctum to get them on our side, so that we could rebuild the Isles and or rebuild the council and actually have like a democratic run nation again instead of a monarchy. We stood against the monarchy because we saw what happened last time we had a monarchy exist. Me. Like that, yeah.
Well, that
I
that
still
that brings
reserve
it
the
full
right to
circle.
shoot you.
Again, I would assert that just because there's a monarch doesn't mean that a person needs to fall and become a corrupt wizard king.
Yeah,
Like, I don't think that
I'm a
that's
good
like
king.
an innate, like the only path that has to, like, it's not the inevitable conclusion I would put forth.
Yeah, I feel
Absolute
like
power corrupts absolutely.
your incompetence and falling out with the stuff is just completely unrelated to my monarchy. You know, it's
Of course,
completely
Oh,
of
It's
unrelated.
course.
not a monarchy, it's an
after we
empire. It's fine.
Yeah,
after we were
Welcome to
able
the
and I have a
Outliers
lot of power, and I
family of
help a
the
lot of
writers.
people with the power. Because when you have a lot of power, the best thing to do is to be nice to people, and people who don't have power, give them more, so that they can
so
have more stuff.
after we were able to successfully recruit Nicole or Noctem to be a part of our party to go to this expedite or coronation, as well as consider at the very least consider being a part of a new council if one were to say be formed or something. Haha, wink wink nudge nudge. We went to Tortuga, and we furthermore went to this new building that had been created. And after we met a few people at the gates or the docks of Tortuga, we all gathered and ventured into this place. We were very graciously invited. No expense was spared. And when we all sat down, the coronation began. And what we paid tribute to was something none of us were really there to expect. There were two important things that were discovered from this coronation. The obvious and most important one being Tyler was becoming the emperor of Tortuga, and not only that, he was making plans on becoming the emperor of the entirety of the Isles. He wished to see the prosperity that Tortuga had been facing extended eternally towards all that were in the Isles. And the second thing that was also important to note was among the members of the audience, Crab of Mysteriosa pledged allegiance to this new empire. Your new empire.
That's my line.
So yours is the low bear, and that is it. You one trick pony.
Wow, that's just rude.
Just kidding. I love you. I love you, Ryan. Please don't hate me. Please don't kick me out of the SMP.
Also, to just a side note, at the coronation, the remains of the crown that Ryan had worn were destroyed as well.
Yes, symbolically removed from existence. Just so, and I was at attendance too,
Yeah,
and he did not care.
yeah,
He was not
whatever.
phased by me being back from the dead. He was just like, okay,
Yeah,
whatever. Stay in your lane, dude. Don't you dare come for my crown. And then he
Stay in
burned
your
my
lane.
crown. Freaking
Out
savage.
with the old, in with the new.
Just a little harsh. Just a little.
Yeah,
Well, after all he did, I figured that wasn't harsh enough.
I mean, you're not wrong, but
That's
it
a
was
point.
it wasn't me, bro. It was the rose.
After this coronation and after these harrowing discoveries that we all learned, we ventured back to Isle Verde to discuss And Scythe as a character was very, very in protest of this new empire.
I
Spouting
don't know why.
now,
I haven't done anything bad. I'm only good.
as a character, Scythe is very complex, and as we are all, as this discussion will conclude, we will learn just a little bit more about him. But as complex of a character Scythe is, he was fraught with peril on the idea that these isles would be soon, eventually, possibly governed by more than a democracy. These isles were formed on the prospect of friendship, of democracy, of all of the people having an equal opinion and equal say in the matter, coming together to make things great because that's what they were. They were all friends. And even though I wasn't at the table to begin with this first council, I still saw the beauty of it, and I wished to see that continue. I did not want to see an empire ruin everything, ruin all the goodwill that they created. And so we discussed. And among the many things we discussed, it was eventually settled upon that we did need to make a new council. We could not let this empire, we could not let it go. We needed to fight back. And so ended Act 1 and began Act 2.
Now, at this point in time, it is my understanding that Ryan, you were kind of wandering around trying to regain all your memories, figure out what happened to the Isles, and you found some interesting things. Couple different things.
So this is true. This is 100% true. You are informed correct. I found out where Jane was. And this was our this was me and Jane's wonderful friendship reunion episode where she told me she'd kill me if she ever saw me again. Um Basically, I followed Crab from Mysteriosa. I snuck into Mysteriosa and I checked it out, and I found a second house on Mysteriosa, if you will, um, and it looked like someone had been living there, and it was very similar to Jane's belongings from Nassau. So I kind of assumed it was Jane that was living on Nassau with Crab this entire time. So I followed Crab while he left, and I came across a mine. And outside of this mine, there was a couple gardens and some woodworking areas and whatnot. And lo and behold, there was Jane. Jane was at this mine. She was working. She was living with Crab. They had been together for the 8 months. Jane had fled there for survival, but but I couldn't understand why she didn't. Or I guess I could. She didn't know about the rose. Um, she didn't know that Crab gave me the rose. She didn't know about my corruption. She just knew that I had gone crazy and, threatened to kill her, which was awful.
Moment. Not trying to break in the middle of your discussion here. You're on fine points. I just want to take a quick note to everybody in attendance. Let's give our warm and welcome, undivided gratitude towards Totally Not Chaos 76 for being in attendance here. We appreciate having him. We appreciate all the work he does behind the scenes. And yeah, just thanks for being here, buddy.
Chaos is a chaotic man. He sold my leg.
Yeah, he did.
He held an auction for my leg after I was dead. It was weird. So yeah, continuing. So Crab went into the mine. Jane stayed on near the garden. I approached her and I started talking to Jane, and she thought I was a figment of her imagination when we began the conversation. And as we started talking, I started explaining to her everything, that I was corrupted by the rose and that Crab had given it to me and that she shouldn't be here. Crab is dangerous. Crab caused the downfall of Nassau and the Isles. Um, and she told me something that my character will remember forever. She knew that Crab had given me the rose. Crab had admitted it to her out of guilt because he understood what he did, but he still stood by what he did.
Wasn't he drunk when he did it?
He was drunk, 100%.
But that's not an excuse, kids. Remember that.
And so Jane knew, and she didn't care. She would rather stay with Crab, the man who corrupted the King of the Isles, than go with the king, the ex-king of the Isles, who destroyed the Isles. And I left. In Crab came back. I left. And on my way back, I found an airdrop in the middle of the ocean from the organization, and in it was a log that talked about uh, individuals spying on a location known as Jericho. And we have not heard of Jericho up until this point, so I didn't really know exactly what that meant. But I was curious, and it would sit in the back of my mind for a little while. Following that episode, Scythe, do you want to take this one?
You got it, good sir. While Ryan was off on his wild, marvelous misadventures of wrapping up loose ends with that, Tyler and with the help of Scythe were quick to try to establish another friend among the new council. And while NASA was abandoned, Tortuga was the enemy, and everybody else that was already on the table either said no or was with us. There was one more person, or there was one more isle that was out of the question, hadn't been brought into the loop yet, and that was Port Royal. Now, more than any other nation, Port Royal had heard. We've all heard very little from Port Royal. There was a couple of choice times where we were able to visit with the mercenary, but up until now, that was really the most we got. We would happily meet him at his gate, and then that was it. At this time, though, however, we all, Tyler and the current members of the supposed new council, or the prospects for a new council, we all gathered and decided to use that power of more people, just sheer quantity of us, to hopefully get this mercenary to invite us inside so we could discuss the odds of a new council. That plan failed horribly, and I do mean horribly. This man sat at his gate and mocked us, throwed a couple tridents. I think he knocked out Ryan a couple times too, but
Yeah.
it did not go well at all. If anything, it went less than good because afterwards there was a raid on the Azor because we all retreated there with our tails tucked between our legs. There's a raid, and Scythe was shown that he wasn't all that he was capable of.
Well,
So
I was at Port Royale trying to have a conversation with the current leader, and it was rudely interrupted by you and the band of people. Is what
yeah,
actually happened there.
you don't deserve
I
to be talking to him. You need to get out of here. You need to go back to
I was
Tortuga.
trying to have some trade deals going on.
I don't care what you're supposed to have, man. Get out of here.
Got
Get out of these
dropped in
lands.
on.
Yeah, yeah. You're gonna get dropped in. You're not allowed, man. You gotta go. You gotta go.
Well, I don't. I'm allowed in my lands, seeing as how they're mine.
Yeah, they're not yours yet, guy. We're gonna
No, my
fight.
lands are my lands.
Yes.
We're gonna fight, and you're gonna lose. Remember that,
Hmm.
guy.
All
Remember
right.
that.
I don't
Anyways,
see your
Yes.
navy anywhere.
Oh my goodness.
Ryan, in your wanderings, you had come across a unique group of people. I am under an impression.
Yes, while I was wandering and taking my walks, I was upset because the Isles weren't what they were when I was there before. Before I had woken up in that facility, I was still under the impression that the Isles were a united place, that people were still friendly with one another. But I came to the rude awakening that that wasn't the case. Strife was beginning to take hold. Alliances were being made. Jane hated me. Um, Everything was just kind of going to shit. So I went on a lot of walks by myself to really, clear my mind and try to just figure out what the hell I was doing in this world and trying to figure out like what my purpose is. Because I wasn't the king anymore. I was the former king, and I was never going to be king again. And there was no point in even trying to do that. I colossally fucked up. I screwed over so many people. I caused so much devastation. I needed to figure out um, somehow to really, try to help someone. And while I was wandering, I saw these lights up in some trees, and I got curious as we do on the SMP, and I investigated. And in these trees, I found um the refugees from Port Royal. They had built a treehouse village up in a jungle forest, off the ground, so the mobs couldn't get to them. They were living peacefully amongst these trees, and I realized that if I were to tell people about this place, like they were probably just gonna end up dead like everyone else, or
People
just
torture me here.
they were like just you know I wanted to make sure they were okay and safe, so I didn't really tell anyone about it. I was like, nah.
So, with that, it is important to know why there are refugees coming from Port Royal. We will soon discover how true this actually is, but the refugees from torture, or when the mercenary took over power in Port Royal, the turnover rate wasn't like sudden. It wasn't built, or Rome wasn't built in a day, nor was it demolished. But gradually, over time, the power that Owen had as the advisor to this mercenary kind of shifted. Eventually, this mercenary kind of locked him out, forced him out, kind of exiled him from his own nation. And with that, he basically took all of the people that led and ruled or lived under Owen in Port Royal, either gave them the boot, and if they refused to leave, gave them the sword, or put them to the sword. And after this, the people, or the pillagers that lived with the mercenary on his ship, because that's how we were introduced to this mercenary, was a ship that hung out around the docks of, or hung out around the outside of Nassau. The yeah, the pillagers that worked under him were quickly invited in. The doors were shut, locked. Key was thrown away, and that was the last we really heard of Port Royal. We never got this information. We just knew that we didn't hear from them. We would learn all of this information through the final words of King Owen, or of Owen, the leader,
Governor.
former leader of
Governor
Port
of Port
Royal.
Royal.
Or were you going to say something, Shimmy?
Well, yes, there was some things that happened before you discovered Owen's journal.
Yeah, you
Looping
got me. You
around,
got me.
looping around.
As
I was here for
Ryan,
this. I know what
as Ryan,
happened.
thank you. As Ryan was coming back from one of his adventures one day, one of his long walks, he was confronted by Tyler, or the Kingslayer, and Scythe, trying to figure out, where the fuck have you been, guy? Where have you been? We haven't seen you in forever. Where have you been? And through the powerful art of persuasion, via the means of peer pressure, and we just bullied him. He told us that there was a village that he didn't want to, but he ended up doing it anyway. So with this village, this refugee camp we found hiding in the trees, we learned all of this through our own eyes. We learned that that's why they were here. And among the tallest or most prominent structure, thank you, Nicole, for building it, by the way, we found a place that all the other villagers kind of avoided. They held in reverence, but they avoided because it was their hero. They didn't really go any further detail into it, but they said it was their hero. Now, we were also told that only members of the council were able to enter that building. So, as three members of a in the process of building a new council, we were like, yeah, I don't see why not. Let's see if this is what it's all cracked up to be. And in there, we found a journal that seemed very grim, very somber, and it told of all the horrible things that had happened to the people of Port Royal, why they were here in this refugee camp, and it gave us a mission to get these people back to the home that belonged to them. Or the mercenary and the people that lived in those walls don't deserve it.
It's important to point out that this journal mentions that the refugee tree camp was built around a structure of some sort that contained a lodestone, um, which had not been discovered. And it was also after that point that you guys discovered the grave of Owen and planted some very lovely flowers.
Yes.
Thank you for noting that important point. The reason why that lodestone is important is because it was what pointed Ryan. It was what Ryan had given Jane a compass to this lodestone in his meeting with her to say, hey, in your further travels, if you need a place of safe haven, these people at this or where this compass points will get you to that safety. It all ties together. It's all tied together. It's great. Yeah. In this, after we found this journal and kind of realized it was signed Owen, and it made it sound like he was dying or dead or somewhere in the process of doing so, we began searching the floor, seeing if there was any trace of this bunker. And sure enough, we found it. We found the lodestone, and we also found a diary or a journal manifest that had been torn to shreds, just absolutely, just kind of left there. Any important information had been taken out, save for the final page of it. The final page had another set of coordinates for somewhere way off in a complete opposite direction. The important things of this journal, though, were that it told of a group of scouts that were watching and viewing and kind of checking in on the events of the Temple of the Sun, like Shimi was saying earlier. This is where we would discover that there was an outpost for this Jericho place. The journal mentioned Jericho. It found return to Jericho with X coordinates. And at this time, Ryan kind of piped up. He was like, on some of my previous adventures, I also found something that says Jericho. And then we're like, we should probably go there. That's not a bad idea.
It was it was the second time Jericho had been mentioned. And we
Yeah.
figured they could be we have no idea who they are, but at this point we're kind of, looking for allies and we need anybody we can get.
So we all kind of agreed on that point and then continued our search. And while we were hanging out discussing these things, we found a grave. And again, it seemed to be held in reverence. There was many flowers and wonderful things set aside for it. And
Thai plant
at this
or
grave, we
young Thai
Yeah.
planted a flower. It was very touching.
R.I.P. Owen.
I
we
think
paid respects. We found this grave and we paid respects to a good man that was lost and for sadly he was lost to us in a time when he was alone and without his friends. May he rest in peace.
But we took on his duties of taking care of his people and finding them a home.
at this point, I think you guys went and collected Nicole, and were trying to convince her to join you in this expedition to Jericho. As I
Yeah.
recall, it took a little bit of convincing, a little bit of promises of a trade agreement, if if that was something. There was some
Well-
disparaging remarks made about books.
We're not gonna go there. The fact also is that I was in the middle. Forgive me, words. Um, I was in the middle of a meeting with Chaos, Chaos or 76, as we do quite a bit of trade back and forth via the rail system from Fall Creek to Isle Verde. Um, and I was telling him how I received an offer from Tortuga. I was offered, I think,
A very
anim-
generous offer, I might add.
I can't ever pronounce this correctly. Anonymity from a tyrannical government. I was promised a
Tyrannical?
five.
There's never. What are you talking about, tyrannical?
Well, from the oppressive government that already
It's
existed.
not oppressive at all. Oh, you're talking about the council.
There you go.
You're right.
I was also offered a whopping 5% discount on trade. The fuck you think this is, boy? No, thank you. And then I was also offered something else, and I forget what it was. And Chaos was just like, "That's a shit deal. Don't do it." And the boys just happened to walk up, and then they started accusing me and like questioning me, saying, "Are you actually gonna take it? Like, what about the new council?" I'm like, "Whoa, hang on." Part of the stipulation that I had for Isle Verde was that so long as it remained prosperous and so long that there was no threat to my home, I would abide with the new council. I said that multiple times, and I continue to say it because I keep getting peer pressured.
I know what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
clearly the new council is very power hungry and oppressive, and you should
Oh my
totally
I
come
think
goodness.
join
somebody's a little bit
Tortuga and help me
biased.
out.
Little
I'll
biased.
help you out. Anything you
The
need,
council,
Tortuga's
essentially the
there for
power
you. It's clearly a power grab. They're trying to take over
Regardless,
your lands.
Regardless,
Nicole
I
accepted the offer to go on this wild expedition to get lost in the middle of the ocean with disappearing boats to find Jericho. Now, along the way to Jericho, as it is a very far sail from the Isles, you guys came
get lost.
across something a little sus. What'd you find?
Sussy.
we
That little
we
sus
Little
building there.
sussy.
we
Sussy
found
building.
a Tortugan outpost on a little island along our
Little
route.
sussy Tortugan outpost among
Bunch
us.
there were
Little
people all over
sussy
the island. There were Tortugan flags. They were expanding their empire, and we were like, "Oh shit, not cool."
Dude, it's closer to Tortuga than Nassau is. What do you? It's fine.
No, because it was
Yeah,
on
it
the
is.
way to
I went right
Jericho.
there.
All right, we were scared that you were gonna beat us to Jericho.
Like I was just visiting my people. It is way close. It is so close to Tortuga. It's on the way to Nassau. Levels of close. You don't even know how to navigate. Your maps are incorrect.
Okay, okay, I'll have to buy some updated maps from Tortuga.
Yeah, I'll sell you some maps. It's all
All
good.
right, cool. 6%
Fine.
discount.
6%
I'll let
upcharge.
you know, all the new NAS from Tortuga just say the Empire of Tortuga, and it does include all of the other
It's just
lands
all of them. Yeah.
visible. Don't worry about that yet.
Except for Mysterioso, they have like a little asterisk being like and Mysterioso there in that area. That was agreed
uh,
on.
so as we sailed, we found that little outpost, and then we got lost a couple times. Eventually, we found our way on track, and as we approached a new landmass, we saw some watchtowers on the shore. And this was the first sign of civilization we've seen this far out in this direction on the SMP. Um, and as we followed a river inland, we eventually found the borders of what we assumed to be Jericho because of the coordinates. We followed them into a little boathouse, and we discovered a rail system.
That Scythe
And
immediately got lost in.
Scythe immediately gets lost. The
Talking
rest of us are taking it cautiously, taking it nice and slow. We don't know if Jericho is friend or foe yet. We don't know what they think of outsiders or anything like that. And we start making our way through what we assume is the front because there's a fountain. It's kind of like a courtyard. We begin exploring Jericho and kind of just diving into its secrets. And as we were going, we discovered a lot of little nooks and crannies and whatnot. We had a lot of questions.
Got very
It
lost.
got very lost over and over, and then we finally arrived
In my throne
in
room.
in the throne room.
And yeah, so this party of marvelous misadventurers arrives on my doorstep. As leader
Whole month in the
of
making, by the way.
Jericho, as matriarch of Jericho, I welcome them with open arms. Um, just an aside, I'm very happy to be a part of this project. I put a lot of time into creating Jericho, and I was very excited for them to finally visit. We were planning it for several weeks, coming into when an appropriate time in the lore to introduce Jericho would be. So that was super cool. But I gave them the tour, showed them around, showed them some of Jericho's alchemical experiments. Yes, I
Wait, yeah. Oh, sorry. We gotta get to that point first. I'm jumping the gun here. Continue.
okay.
Yeah, stop jumping the gun.
I
This is
showed
Shimmy's
them
time to shine.
my fantastic mushrooms. They were a little concerned about their safety. If they were okay, they're perfectly fine. I showed them the libraries and some of my alchemical labs because Jericho is this great city of the ancients that has existed long before anybody existed in the Isles, before the pirates of the Isles were there. They've been there from the beginning of time. Um, and I show them my personal lab as matriarch, where I had been up until recently working on a very special experiment. Um, this experiment is like slowly revealed through my telling the story of how I'd worked on it, how a hooded man came to me bearing a great treasure and wanted the alchemists of Jericho to break down the secret behind this nether star and understand its ability to corrupt living things. And so I show these misadventurers who just showed up on my doorstep where I was able to take the power of this nether star and transfer it into a rose. Big reveal, I created the rose.
Bum bum bum.
However, I am not aware at this point that the rose is what corrupted Ryan. I was just aware that the rose had been taken from me. It was very upsetting. And at this point, I think it was Scythe asked for a moment for them to chat alone. And I went up to my balcony to reflect as they discuss their findings.
Now,
um,
when this
Yeah,
happened, I
evil
pulled every.
matriarch made the flower. Just putting that out there.
It was a
Just
science
saying.
experiment. There was no
Evil
ill
mate.
intent behind it.
This is the real evil monarchy here. People are, they're lying to
Sure.
you. Everyone, they're lying to you, saying that I'm evil. I'm just
Oh,
trying to do
yeah?
the best thing
Fake
for
news.
the nation
You want to
and
say
the
you're not
Tortugan
evil when
Empire.
when
I'm
we
not
get
evil.
when we get 4 more minutes into the plot?
Yeah, I'm not evil. It's all look. Shimmy
Hold,
is the real evil one. Okay,
hold that,
not me.
hold that
There
thought.
was no
Hold
intent for that rose to ever leave the walls of Jericho, nor was there any understanding of its use against humans.
Do I
that.
know that? No. All I
Hey,
know is you made it and
hey,
you're evil.
hey.
Mm.
So like, here's something important to know. The reason why Scythe was like, hey, let's like not talk about this. Hey, can we get a moment? Can we? Because it's obvious that she didn't know that the rose was what corrupted him, and Scythe got the vibe that hey, it sounds like that's where this conversation is about to head off to, and we really shouldn't tell her that that is what happened because we're just meeting this person. We don't know how she's going to react to that, and that's some pretty hit or miss kind of information that we just don't. Let's not tempt fate. So the entire time, all the people in there were questioning me, like, "Dude, what's wrong with you? Why are you freaking out about this?" I'm like, uh, I can't tell you." It was a great time, and eventually they kind of agreed with me, and we moved on.
They
And
rejoined me in my balcony, and as we are kind of discussing, pleasantries, what's going on, and such, um, the front proximity alarm of Jericho goes off.
there's an
Surprise!
attack. There's an ambush.
Raiders! Tortugan raiders. We find a camp of them just outside the walls of Jericho. There's Tortugan flags. They put some of my villagers in cages, clearly ill intent. And at that point, Ryan kills me.
Okay, that did happen. I was trying to kill pillagers and I accidentally struck down the matriarch on our first day
Yeah.
of meeting the matriarch.
And took all my shit. He took all my shit.
All of it.
It just zoop right into his inventory. But we figure it out. We're just like, hey, what is this camp? Tortuga attacked Jericho. How did they know? Why would they do such a thing? Mighty suspicious. I declare war on Tortuga. They will pay for their actions. They still have yet to pay for their actions.
Fuck Tortuga.
Look. I am just trying to bite the problem in the butt before it's a real big issue for the rest of the Isles. I'm trying to do everyone a service, taking out the evil matriarch, Shimmy.
Oh, okay.
And then you had to be
Anyways,
there and help stop it from happening. I thought it
Mhm.
wouldn't even be that big of a deal.
um,
You used
Secondly,
your fine
those
words
weren't
that camp.
cages, those were humane villager transportation crates. We have free range villagers in all
they
Tortugan
were
areas.
starving him, Mom. They had bars on his window.
Free range villager.
Yeah.
My
Shimmy has
villagers
her
are well
villagers
cared
locked
for.
up
No
inside.
one is locked up.
We were trying to
Anyways,
free them and transport them safely
at
to
They
this
Tortuga to have
they
a
like
nice
living in
Tortugan
breeze.
mountains,
war
Like,
dude.
camp, at this
Hold
war
on,
camp,
Tortuga's on a hill.
we have a very civil discussion about how this is not okay, how Tortuga and these pillagers, who I believe we decided originated from Port Royal, needed to pay for what happened. And I was invited to have a space on the new council. We also had some negotiations with Nicole of Isle Verde and established a very nice trade agreement. Um, there were ships exchanged, and
Gifted the Artemis bow
yes,
that literally
I
lit
was
things on
gifted
fire.
a very terrifying weapon. Um, and the adventurers left the shores of Jericho to return to the Isles to deal with what was happening in Port Royal, to the point where that they were sending Tortugan pillagers to Jericho. Dun, dun, dun. Everybody hydrate.
Everybody hydrate. I
I'm
just
out of
reached
water. Sorry.
I just reached for my beer.
God damn it, Scythe. Anyways, when you
So
return to the Isles,
something important to note that was brought up in discussion before we head back was when we asked Shimmy how did she or why did she choose to put the outpost where she did. Her response was something to the effect of, it was very close to a landmark we knew about, an old tomb. And
yes,
we're like, a tomb we've never heard about. How do you know about this? And that led us down another rabbit hole.
there was
So
no
on our
reason for my people to explore this tomb. Jericho already had all the wealth, the riches, the gold, the gems, and the artifacts that we could ever possibly want. So we just kind of let it be. It wasn't important.
the Isles, however, on the other hand, specifically members of the new council, could use some of these items, these boons, if you would, for when we originally sought out counsel out of the mercenary who led Port Royal. His response to us was this: present me a boon fit for a ruler, and you will gain entry. So we reckoned, hey, we could definitely get a boon from that tomb that she was talking about there. So we prepared ourselves for an adventure, something very deadly, an endgame level event, and we descended into the catacombs, an old tomb, if you would. And through there, we found a number of things, many of which tried to kill us. A couple of antics. There was a Starbucks. It was great. I didn't get my espresso, and I got sad. But moving on, among the many things that we found in there, we found a treasure room with a number of fun things. After we fought our way through this dungeon and discovered what we wanted to bring towards council for Tortu or Port Royal, we gathered ourselves and wait, was it? Yeah, no. Prior or about this time, right before we were able to figure out what we were gonna bring, we were uh, collapsed on by Tyler of Tortuga as well as Crab of Mysteriosa, or they were trying to seek counsel from Batsy or the mercenary. My bad. Pardon me. I knew I was going to do that at least once. My bad. Sorry. From this mercenary.
Well, it was myself and Cody.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah,
Taiji. They
and
were
they're
trying. They were,
insanely fast horses.
yeah.
Oh
They were
yeah, they were
seeking
just
counsel.
zooming.
You mean my very well-bred Tortugan steeds?
Yes,
Sure.
those.
Yeah. They were trying to seek counsel from the mercenary, and he did not give them a response. And we were all very confused to hear about that. But we all knew, the three of us, me, Ryan, and Tyler, little Davy Ty, for it was mainly the three of us for this entire act. We were all the three amigos, if you would, having a great old time. We realized whatever he is talking about, we need to get our ass in gear because it's not good if the Emperor of Tortuga is in contact and cahoots with the leader of Port Royal. That spells bad for uh, our new council. So, with that in mind, we headed towards Port Royal, yelled out to the walls, hey, hey, guy, We're presenting your boon, the boon that you're looking for. Give us counsel. And we got
Crickets.
no response. Nothing. Zip, zilch, nada. So, calling back to the diary that we were given by the late Owen, he mentioned a back tunnel that had been forced open through the machinations of his own design. We entered through this way, and we fought off a couple of the remaining pillagers that were left in this deserted town. And among those beings that were left there, we found a burning pyre, and atop that pyre was a charred corpse of what seemed to be that mercenary.
Da, da, da.
Oh, it was for sure the mercenary.
Definitely.
It was for sure.
Yeah, at the bottom of said pyre or funeral pyre, there was a lectern that said something to the effect of, "He died as he lived, a traitor to us all. May he burn in hell," or something to that effect. I would love to get a good screen cap of what it actually said because I can't remember for the life of me. But it was something to that effect. The
I
pillagers,
don't remember.
the pillagers that were working under the mercenary turned against him because he could not give them the same prosperity that Owen, the previous king, had. So they burned him alive. And with this
Quispy.
gruesome crispy boy,
Crispy.
No, it's Quispy with a W.
crispy bacon
Quispy.
Crispy.
is a crispy. So with this crispy boy we found, we decided that there was or Port Royal needed a new leader, and because there was three of us among the old council that are trying to be part of the new council, and also since there's two squatters living in my fucking house in my aisle, and I need one of them to go.
Gang.
Gang, we made the executive decision that Tyler, the Kingslayer, would take up the mantle of governor of Port Royal.
Now,
Two leaders.
This was discussed at the meeting of the new council, wasn't it?
Yes.
Hmm.
After this moment, after we got a brief aside from the words of Shimmy herself, the matriarch, we all convened. We had our first meeting as the new council. All representatives were accounted for. We had the matriarch Shimmy of Jericho. We had the leader of Azor Scythe. We had Lady Noctum of Isle Verde. We had the new crowned king or governor of Port Royal, Tyler, and we had the representative of the refugees of the Isles and the people of the Isle, or the refugees of the people of Nassau and the Isles themselves. Also, the squatter in my fucking basement, Ryan. We all convened. We all discussed what we thought would be best for our nation and how we were going to defend ourselves against the Empire. And sure enough, guess who showed up unannounced?
Knock, knock, knock. It's interlopers. They were spying on us,
Nobody
which
expects the
would
Spanish
be
Inquisition.
Oh my
which
god.
would be revealed at a later point that the illustrious Emperor of Tortuga, as well as Crab of Mysteriosa, were watching this meeting of the new council from a nearby hilltop, and
Very
decided to
suspicious of you all.
intervene. Of course, having this leader who attacked the sovereign shores of Jericho barge in, I immediately went for his throat. And he wanted to drop the bombshell that the rose that I made was the thing that corrupted Ryan, which, to this point in lore, is still fucking with my character.
Yes.
I was
Yeah, it wasn't
very
very
upset.
cash money of you.
Was very, very upset because I didn't know that that's what happened, and my character matriarch is feeling very guilt ridden about this whole situation. Never intended this amount of harm to come to people, and excused herself, saying that she would not be able to rule the new council.
And with that, we have the wrap on Act
That is
2, Season
that
2.
that's where Act 2 ends.
Hmm.
Con conflict is
Oh.
brewing, tensions are
War on the
high.
border.
But
We're
what about
ready to
that
fight.
trailer?
So that was actually something I was about to bring up as well. There's been another storyline going on in the background throughout the entirety of this process, through all the trailers that have been produced for each act in each season. That story that has been happening post roll credits of these or trailers has been centered around the organization that was brought up in the beginning, and they've been ever present throughout most of the links of the story. The organization known as Chaos Industries in these trailers has been they've been involving themselves throughout the time and space of this world. The most important thing to note at this point, and what leads us into is going to lead us into the next act, was this last trailer for season or for Act 2. The group have throughout these trailers, the group have grown increasingly aggressive with one another, getting at each other's throats, and obviously not showing any sign of camaraderie and agreement on anything. And it has come to a head with this story that has been happening, that they all disagree so much, and they all have made the choices that they have, to the point where two of them have been asked to leave their facility that was referred to in a previous trailer as Black Mesa. And among this argument, among this conversation, it was name dropped that Scythe was asked to believe the director, which, spoiler alert, it is I. Scythe is a part of the organization. Much, yeah,
You
I know.
rat bastard.
Now, whether or not whether or not the people of the Isles will figure this out sooner or later, that is up to interpretation or the direction in which we decide to take.
Gotta watch and find out.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Tortuga's not
Exactly.
seeming so bad now after all.
Well, we can promise that there are a lot of very exciting things in store for the next act as well as the next season. At this point, I wanted to see if anybody had any questions before we wrap things up for the night. Lore is complicated, there's a lot of facets to it, and you have the opportunity to chat with a good chunk of the writers at the moment. Um, yeah,
This is
I
true.
do believe that we plan that next Thursday should be the first lore stream of season 2, act 3. I think that'll be on your channel, Ryan, correct?
Scythe?
It'll either be on his or Tyler's. However, regardless, it will be happening October 21st between 7
Yes.
and 8 o'clock. Or it will start at either 7 or 8 o'clock.
Nicole, MJ asks, why are you so fucking cute? Do you wish to have any input?
I'm a potato.
Potatoes are cute. We like potato.
It's like the entire Irish cuisine.
Thank you, KSD, for letting us all know we're cuties. Not as cute as you. Keep that in mind.
Well, I know there are some very exciting things for Jericho to come. I know that my character will be looking to redeem the harm that has come from her actions, as well as understanding what happened exactly. I've got
I'm
some
excited.
exciting things in store. I believe there will be a custody battle. I'll let y'all interpret that as you may.
I will come literally with my trident and my Artemis bow. Fight me, God.
Oh God. Who are you referring to as God?
Yes.
Question: why are the people resisting unification under this clearly noble ruler of Tortuga? And not benevolent ruler of Tortuga?
That's a good
what a
Because-
question.
great
Because he
question.
That's a
runs
great
around
question.
and tramples their crops with his rocket horse.
The crops were perfectly okay. None of them were trampled. Other people have blown them up with creepers. Not me.
because
Other
I don't
people.
I don't trust kings after seeing what I did.
Sounds
Well,
like
that's your-
that's your
king
and then-
guy.
incompetence.
And then watching your raiding party attack the wonderful matriarch of Jericho. That really
the
just
evil
it really just
matriarch.
sealed the deal.
Isn't she the
What?
one who corrupted you though? How
Yeah,
Yeah,
wonderful.
she is.
yeah,
I
You've
but
known
didn't
me
corrupt
so much
anyone.
longer.
Somebody stole that rose.
yeah,
Specifically, I suspect the hooded man who came back to check on my work.
Shimmy is just a scientist. All right, I can't blame the scientist.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Shimmy
science
didn't
isn't
give
going
me.
well.
Yeah,
Shimmy didn't
scientists are
get.
Question:
definitely
who
not
gave
evil.
Tyler any form of power? That's a
So,
good
I
question.
created it myself through my
See, there's
own
not a
strength.
question of like the biggest thing is in this SMP is like not who gave them power, who was just that much had that much of audacity take the
Who's
power.
who's gonna stop me? That's
How are
right,
we
nobody.
feeling? That's the other question. How are we feeling? I'm excited for the
I'm
next act.
I'm excited.
I'm feeling betrayed by
I
my people who've loved me for so long and sided with the enemy. I can't believe this.
expect some heartache. I expect some sadness. I expect lots of anger, but mostly I literally expect getting smacked out of left field with some absolute convoluted emotions.
I'm ready to get everything in motion for y'all because trust me, y'all aren't even close to being ready for what's gonna happen.
We got
Look,
some
with
good
great
stuff in
It's
store.
gonna be really fun.
look,
We
with
we
great power comes great responsibility.
we,
Okay.
we had we had a large meeting talking about all the things we wanted to do later on, and everything that everybody brought was like solid. So whatever
I would love
happens, happens, and it's gonna be amazing either way.
Well, awesome. Thank you to everybody who joined me for this podcast type stream. I'm gonna drop some shout outs here real quick.
Shout out to our wonderful host, Shimmy.
Oh,
If
thank
you are not
Oh.
following her, go
you.
follow her. Get her to 800 followers, please.
I am really close, aren't I?
Yeah.
Go follow Ryan. He tends to host a lot of these streams. Also does a lot of really cool content. Noctum, you want me to shout you out?
I'm not official yet, so
Well,
That
I
doesn't matter if
follow
you get your
you,
profile up.
so go follow Noctum. Hopefully, she'll be on her feet streaming soon. Um, no worries, Kodash. If you have questions, I might set up a channel in my Discord to talk about. Oh, thank you for the cheer tag.
Dude,
But
that is a
fuck
bribe.
the
Hashtag
Tortue
That is a
Gang,
bribe.
obviously.
Hashtag
Bribe
That is
Tortue
a
Gang.
money.
that is a bribe.
I'll be setting up an SMP discussion channel in my Discord. I don't have a command set up for it, but the Amateur Hour Discord is a great place. Thank you for the cheer,
I'm
Ryan.
sorry. That's all I have.
That's okay. I don't
like
ask
I
for
said,
anything.
like I said, Nassau's broke.
That's okay. 98 was a good year.
Yeah.
It's when I was born.
I was 2.
I
Children.
was 4.
But yeah, go check out the Amateur Hour Discord. That's where there tends to be a lot more lore discussion, as well as like an awesome community, which I'm very proud to be a part of. So I'm gonna mute the Discord call here real quick. I will be back. And it's not here. You can't see my face. But, well, thank you everybody for joining me for this stream. I will be back here tomorrow night. Tomorrow night is Thursday, so I will be doing some Lo-Fi Oblivion. I hope you see you for that. If you want to see more of my stuff, I'm on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and we have an awesome Discord, which I'm gonna put in the chat here. And I hope to see you there. I think that's everything for tonight. Remember to talk shit, stay cute, and